Tonight, we share stories of Christians being heavy-handed about putting the Christ in Christmas, a Christian worries about whether it's good to tell kids about Santa, and we read the Tract version of A Christmas Carol. This is the Zodanza Holiday Special. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Merry Christmas.
Look at that beautiful little intro. This guy Zod, let me tell you, he's full of little tricks and treats. Okay, that was a treat for me. He put so much effort into this show. Everyone give him a round. Give him a round.
I really do.
Great. Beautiful.
If you're referring to the holiday colors, I did take a minute, but all I did is keyed out the other ones, keyed out the orange and the yellow.
Let the magic happen. It's odd. Let's believe in Christmas miracles for just one night, please. Okay, I'm going to choose to believe that Santa's elves got on your computer and made that little edit for you while you were sleeping last night.
Yeah. What kind of D-bag would take away the Christmas magic and challenge Santa Claus? And I don't know. We'll get into all that.
That's low-key gonna be me, but we'll
this is the Zodanza Holiday Special.
The Zodanza Holiday Special. Hooray!
We have everything except the Wookiees and the heavily made up Luke Skywalker.
No Red Ryder BB guns. I am wearing a Polar Express-esque robe right now, so maybe we'll get on a train with some strangers and children to the North Pole.
That's his way of saying he rolled out of his bed and into his chair.
No, I had this plan from the beginning. Actually, today at work, we had my team works remotely, so it's it was a holiday thing. We had a contest to see who had the best outfit. So I literally just got my robe and I changed my background to the Polar Express, and that was my contribution to my workplace thing. So it didn't take zero effort, but it didn't take a lot of effort. I'll put it that way. So
sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that you had fun.
Thanks. And Zod, I had a joyous Christmas present for you that was supposed to arrive today, and then I checked today and it actually got changed because you actually live in the North Pole. So I think shipping is just crazy over there. They don't take ships, it's all reindeers. So I don't know what the deal is, but maybe next week we'll be able to enjoy your Christmas gift live on stream. We'll see.
I don't technically live in North Pole. I visit there in the summers though sometimes. It's a small town outside Fairbanks, and they have the whole big Christmas house and stuff.
Oh, that's a thing. Cool. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Google North Pole, Alaska.
I don't even have to Google it. I believe you. I just straight up believe you. That sounds like an Alaskan thing to do. When you're up there bored in Alaska, let's just make the North Pole, and that's probably what happened. So,
yeah. But yeah, it's the stuff coming that you order online takes forever to get here. It's really frustrating. And that's if you're lucky. If you're not, they just don't even ship up here. And there's actually a service based out of Seattle that'll you can order your stuff to go to them and they'll ship it up if other people won't. The whole thing.
The shipping cost that when I pressed your address in, the shipping cost went up way more than I expected. I will say that. I've never ordered anything to Alaska before, but now I see the struggle. But there you go.
It's a treat ordering for somebody in the States. You click the button, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, it'll be there tomorrow." It's like, "Oh, yeah. All right."
Yeah.
Must be nice.
But anyway, we have a holiday special today. And as you mentioned, no Wookiees, but we are going to talk a little bit about Christmas, Santa, Christmas fails, and everything in between, right, Zod?
Yeah, we're going to talk about how, Christians can get during Christmas. They can get a little pushy about seeing it as a Christian holiday. It can get maybe a little annoying, especially if you spend any time on social media. So we're going to talk about some of the few stories that you pass along. We haven't gotten a lot of feedback. And then we will I have some slides. Dan has never seen these, but there's some slides of just things I gather from social media of people acting that way. We're going to watch Mike Winger, the one and only, talk about whether you should lie to your kids about Santa.
Yep.
And finally, for the very first time in Zodanza history, in our 18 episode long, rich, lore-laden history, we are going to read a chick tract.
Yes.
So this is like the whole package in terms of holiday specials, as far as I'm concerned.
It is a big one. So in the spirit of Christmas, this might be a longer stream than usual tonight. Why is that in the spirit of Christmas? Because we're giving you today, folks. We're giving more today. Ourselves, our bodies, our voices, and entertainment for you. So Merry Christmas.
And at 48 years old, I'll take a longer stream whenever I can get it.
That's a good one. I like that. Cheers to that one, Zod. Cheers to that one.
Cheers. What are you drinking there, by the way?
Oh, hot chocolate. Just some Christmas hot chocolate. I thought I'm in my robe today. We're gonna have a good time. Why not have some Christmas hot chocolate in a whiskey?
Let me look at that hot chocolate again.
It's just a little viscous. That's all.
A little translucent.
It's a little. It's not your mom's, not your grandma's hot chocolate. I'll tell you that.
So it's spiked hot chocolate
either,
minus the hot chocolate. Apparently,
it is a little cold. It's cold chocolate.
Okay,
something like that.
Well, let's hear from the people. What did people tell us about Christians putting the Christ in Christmas?
Yeah.
Now, I have to say, I think my story might have been one of the ultimate in terms of just the sheer weirdness of it. Other people have done similar things, but when I worked at the Christian school, we had the full-on happy birthday Jesus cake and threw him a party, and I think they sang a song or something like that. Might be close to as weird as it gets.
So your story when you told that last week was a banger, and I tried to look into my personal history of good stories to match that. I really don't have a lot of good ones. There is like one weird one, which is I went to this church that I don't normally go to for a Christmas sort of Christmas service one time, and the pastor was telling this story about how he and his wife were driving to Houston, and all of a sudden they thought they saw this light and this giant angel in the distance, and they pulled over and thought like the Lord was coming or whatever, that there's this thing happening, but they actually saw the giant statue of Sam Houston that exists like outside of Houston whenever you drive into the city. So it's just like, looking back at that now, it's just like, that's a funny story to tell, how you're just like, you're so into this lore basically that you are interpreting like real world physical objects as manifestations of God, which is, I don't know, it's weird looking back. At the time I thought it was really funny, but now it's just like, like I don't know if that's good for you, but okay.
It reminds me of that video where some people filmed, everyone is saying amen, these are angels, and they're like lights dancing around in the clouds.
Yes.
And at a glance it looks weird, but it's totally just like those spotlights from businesses or something.
Yes. That's been going around recently. Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah. Which is like, do people think like, oh, it's like the second coming, it's happening, and then like what happens now, like a month later? Like, do they not remember? I guess not.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, let's read a couple things people had to say to us about Christ and Christmas. So one of them was, we got an email. I'm just going to summarize it. This one is just about how they talk about how atheists and Democrats and everybody else like that tries to ruin Christmas, of course, of the war on Christmas and everything. According to this email, Christians are really the ones ruining Christmas, because when he was a kid, you want to wake up on Christmas morning and open your presents and stuff like that. This person, of course, had to just go to church, and that just really sucked the actual Christmas out of Christmas. So I think that's pretty fair. You take what could be a fun celebratory time. When you're a kid, I don't know. if it was the same way with kids these days, but when I was younger, waking up on Christmas morning was like the most exciting thing in the world. And you get to open your presents and you like can barely sleep the night before. And, you know, I would suck to just have to like get up and go to church.
Yeah. No, yeah, that I don't know. We as a recovering, well, I should say this. I grew up Methodist, but then my family decided to go to a Baptist church in my teenage years purely because we knew more people there. It like wasn't for any theological reasons, which I just think is really funny in retrospect. But like we were definitely if Christmas or if it falls on an inconvenient time, like the service or whatever, we're just not going to do it. But we would go whenever we made an effort. And like I remember my family a few years ago, whenever I was first coming out as an atheist, they wanted me to come home to and join them for the Christmas service. And somebody in my family saying, well, you know, you just keep an open mind, you know. It's like, really? Like, you think the Christmas service is gonna turn me into a God-fearing Christian again? I don't know. But it's also like, would you come to one of the taping of my shows for like any day of the year? And what if I said just keep an open mind? Like, okay, like we're gonna play this game both ways. What's happening?
Yeah, I find that just really strange. Like you grew up in it, you're pretty familiar.
Yeah.
And I love the whole thought process that they just seem to dwell perpetually in this mindset that if only you went to another service.
Right.
Everything we hear here at church is like ultra convincing. You hear the pastor give a powerful message. Who wouldn't believe after that? So
right.
Maybe you just missed it all. And
we'll get to this later, but you know, Mike Winger has talked about me before, a long time ago in the past. And Mike's conclusion about me is that I just didn't hear the right kind of theology. That if only I heard all the right apologetics, I might not have gone down the path that I have gone down. So it's always just the one more step. You could have made it. You're almost there. You know, you could have been a good Christian boy, but you know, maybe I was deceived by wolves in sheep's clothing. I don't know.
You know, you just got the wrong theology is basically right. Mike Winger in a nutshell. Like,
yeah, that's true. That's a good point, actually. That is like 80% of his content. Oh, that's funny.
And it's not always targeted at atheists. It's usually targeted at other Christians.
I'll give him that.
Just
he
does
clearly
call
out
it
other
wrong.
Christians. Yeah, he does do that. But yeah, no, it is always just, oh, you didn't believe the right way. And you know, standard affairs, I guess. But hey, let's have some fun, Zod. I'm ready. I want to see what you got for me.
We got I want to just point out a couple comments, I think, to put this in perspective. Purple said at least as a kid he didn't get dragged out of bed for midnight mass at Catholic
No, did
church.
not do that. No.
Or Metal Theologian, super long services if you're Orthodox too.
I make a point purposely not to talk about my family out of respect for them and, you know, being in an online space. But I will say my dad was a former Catholic. So I think my dad figured out like, oh, if he's still a Christian. I think he identifies still as a Christian. He's just not a Catholic anymore. He's Protestant. So I think he realized, oh, the best part of not being Catholic anymore is not doing all the Catholic bullshit, which is just like the mass and the, you know, the Latin and all the pompousness. He's not about that, which you know, got to give credit where credit's due. But yeah,
sometimes they're not as severe, maybe depending on the type of Catholic or type of Orthodox, but there's a lot more, I think, of those traditional things associated with holidays. I went to a really hardcore. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying it's weird because there is kind of a new trad Catholic, you know, phenomenon happening right now. A lot of Christian apologists and Christian spaces are claiming to be Catholic now. It's like the newest trend. So kind of weird to me.
Oh, yeah. One of those ones I don't talk about because he just wants attention. I think went on that path.
Yeah.
So we have one person said that his dad worked at a public sector job in a pretty liberal state, and his dad would always they wouldn't celebrate Christmas openly, where I guess his dad claimed they'd celebrate other holidays, so he tried to turn it into a war on Christmas thing. And this person would just basically say like, and just let it go, which I find is a pretty good response. Most of my family's pretty decent, but there's those one or two people who wants to talk about politics and, woke this and masks don't work that. And I just like nod and let the comment pass and move on to other things.
We did get a comment on our video last week as well from Andrew Sword. Shout out to Andrew Sword. I think he's in the chat tonight as well, talking about their experience working retail and knowing people who were not Christian like the rest of the year, but for some reason when Christmas came around, it's like they had to show off how Christian they were and how everything sucks because the world doesn't cater to Christians. There he is. Shout outs to Andrew.
Yeah, I had
not retail. Sorry, you did say at your work. I assumed it was retail because in my mind, I imagine like a Karen situation where somebody's coming up to you being like, I want this. But yeah,
I had one of my kids worked retail for a while, and there would be like people would just feel entitled to walk up and start, asking him where he goes to church and if he's found salvation and stuff like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then finally, last one, someone had a KFC that always put keep the Christ in Christmas on their signboard. Even as a child, I found that weird. I knew we were supposed to pretend it was about Jesus, but we all knew it was about Santa and his sweet gifts.
Hell yeah. 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 It's true.
That's kind of the way it is. Like, even when I was growing up, I think some people would occasionally try to make this Jesus-y thing out of it by reading, the passage from Luke or whatever before but everyone's just sitting there like, come on, when do I get to open my presents?
A KFC with a sign that says keep the Christ in Christmas out in what I assume to be the Midwest, United States, is probably the most American fucking image I could possibly think of. I think that sums us up as a culture in a really beautiful way, actually. I kind of like that mental image.
And I won't dive too far into it, but it does that on many different levels too. Like it shows that we're a very materialistic, commercialist society, but we try to slap this thin layer of
the capitalist interpretations fully withstanding. Absolutely. Definitely implied, at least in my reading, for sure.
And Jesus does indeed pay attention more on Christmas and Easter.
He does. He's watching. But more importantly, it's the other folks that only come once a year that are judging you, and they're seeing if you're there, right? So It's a mutual thing.
So speaking of that KFC and their little sign, that leads to our little, I have a series of social media posts and pictures and stuff like that. Dan has never seen these, so he's reacting in real time along with the rest of you. So here we go.
Listen, before we do this, I need to give another special shout outs to Zod, because Zod has been killing it with the show recently. And I've kind of been in recovery mode lately. I'm feeling 100% better. I'm honestly the best I've felt since things went really wonky for me about a month and a half ago. So I want to, pick up. I want to bring my stuff to the table here. But Zod, this is a Zod show tonight. Zod has been killing it. And so I just want to give my Christmas thanks to Zod for putting the Zod and Zodanza real hard lately. Thank you, Zod.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. And I appreciate the acknowledgement. We all help each other along. And so I just feel like that's the thing to do. And I appreciate everything you've done on this. And I would rather you, even if you're feeling better, take it easy for a little while. I'll pull a little of the weight if need be and make sure you don't push yourself. Praise Zod, indeed.
No, I seriously, just on a personal note, really, it's been really tough for me behind the scenes. I've talked a little bit about it on Truth Wanted. I've had just a time lately. It's been really hard. Turns out recovering from a brain injury comes with more things that you don't expect. This is my Christmas thanks again to Zod for, I'm so glad we just have this little project together, bud, you and me. It's just, it's been a wild ride. So let's watch some fucking Christmas memes, some fails, some JPEGs, some good crunchy JPEGs that you scraped off the internet. I'm here for it. Let's go.
All righty. Now, this transitions very well from our last little comment. Very literal. Brown's
Yes.
Lighting Gallery in Anchorage, Alaska. They're always putting weird stuff on their sign. They're obviously evangelical Christian. Jesus is the reason for the season. I think we've already more or less commented on this, but
More or less. Is the lighting gallery like a known chain, or is this like a local business? Do you know?
I think it's a local family business.
That
They're
makes
always like,
sense.
this is mild compared to what they put up. They'll put up things like, why can you have Bibles in prison but not in school, and things like that. So they're not shy about where they stand.
Yeah, it's true. And like, I hate to be that guy. Also, when people talk about paganism influences in Christianity, usually it's generally overstated. Like, yes, it definitely has influence, but like not in the specific Christmas traditions they think. But all that to say, Jesus is not the reason for the season. Like, people were celebrating the season way before Jesus was a thing. So, just to put that out there too.
And also, like, Christmas as we know it was not even a thing for most of history. Like, I think you used to give your presents on New Year's, and a lot of people thought Christmas was this nasty holiday where everyone got drunk and run around making trouble. There's probably a lot of layers to it, but I would say that what people on PragerU and Fox News think has just been Christmas forever is a pretty relatively new phenomenon.
Yeah. Yeah. Although, how funny, I mean, like, how excited would you be to receive frankincense and myrrh just on a random day of the week? You know what I mean? Like, that must have been, you think that happened? You think somebody was like, I'm going to copy all the gifts from the Magi in the Bible and just do that? And then people be like, whoa, that's so crazy. Like, you think people are really excited about that? Somebody has done that, I
This
just hope
reminds me of Life of Brian, where Mary's like, don't worry so much about the myrrh next time.
Yeah. I was not allowed to watch Life of Brian growing up, by the way. I was banned from watching Monty Python films, which is a real travesty, to be honest. They're pretty funny.
Yeah.
But
And this is a side point, but YouTube punk, good point. Same point with a nuclear family. Like,
yeah.
we think the way it was, the way a certain generation of people remember it from the 50s, which in and of itself was an idealized version of the 30s. It's very recent. Okay, here we go.
Fuck the nuclear family. Sorry, I'm dropping F-bombs again. Zod and I had a talk, and he didn't say this directly, but he was like, you need to stop cussing so much. And I'm gonna stop doing it as much as I can. But I will say, fuck the nuclear family.
If we can avoid too much to where we're not total potty mouths the whole time. But last week we were monetized green, and like the name of a 20th century dictator came up many times.
And I saw the comments.
Political party. Yeah.
Somebody said the replacing the blanks with fucks is what made basically their whole week. And you know what? I'm down for that. I'm okay with that. This is America, and I have a right to freedom of speech, and I'll keep using it, baby. That's what it's all about.
When it comes down to it, I just want us to be loose and have fun here. So,
Gotcha.
All right. Corporate Dan needs you to find the difference between this picture and this picture.
So I love this because, first of all, it's an office meme. So already there's vibes about that, but also that is like the most adorable version of Satan you could have possibly picked. Like, if you really wanted to make a point about how Santa was the devil, that's the picture you're gonna go with? The fucking looks like a Funko Pop figure almost. Like, that's not making your case very clear, I think.
Who's that Pokemon?
It does look like a Pokemon. It does.
Coincidence? I think not.
That's true.
But I don't know if you ever experienced this side of it, but when I was younger, for one, to add this, we weren't really that wound up about church on Christmas, so it would just be if it happened to come up. But we were very, very anti-Santa. And I remember, I don't know if we really overtly thought it was satanic, but yeah, there were no displays of Santa at our house, at our church/school. In fact, there's this little saying circulated around, like, if you rearrange the letters of Santa, you get Satan or something like that.
Man, wow. So you guys were like legends amongst my circle. I was the type of Christian where, yeah, we go to church every Sunday and we go hard at the youth group service, but like you can totally watch Harry Potter. You know what I mean? Like there was
no,
that was totally cool. Like it was just like you couldn't go too far with the secular culture. And sometimes I was encouraged to take breaks from secular movies and music in particular, and just have like an hour where I just listen to Christian music. That was a recommendation somebody made for me one time. It was just an hour a day of Christian music. So yeah, the fact that even Santa wasn't like cool with your family, that's just funny to me. I don't know.
We literally could not listen to any music that wasn't Christian, to the extent that, you know, even if it was just like an innocent children's song, all music was designed to glorify the Lord. So if it's not doing that, it's meant for something else. And our whole junior high and high school would sit in a big circle and have this discussion about which actual Christian authors were actually glorifying the Lord and which were showing off for themselves.
So did you not make the argument that like Santa Claus is just Saint Nicholas, right? Who is obviously a very devout Christian, right?
Yeah, because when you're a kid, stuff like that goes over really well at our Christian school.
You know what? That's a good point. You're probably not coherent enough to actually make any kind of argument for that kind of thing. But
little advice from you for skeptics and scoundrels. Hi, by the way, skeptics and scoundrels.
get all the
curse words. The first 30
get seconds. All the curse words out in the 30 seconds of that's what you really need to do. You need to say the most like profane possible things you can say in the first 30 seconds. That's what they're looking for. Oh, look at this. Look, Shannon Q is in the chat with us and said hi earlier and donating $5 Canadian. Give the boys the buck. Now, granted, it is Canadian, so not as good as American money, but I appreciate you, Shannon. Thank you so much.
Is that like 30 cents in American dollars?
Oh, it's like negative $5. I think she just took money from our accounts actually by giving us that amount. But thank you, Shannon.
Yes, thank you and hello, by the way.
Yeah, it's been a minute since Shannon and I have talked. Would love to catch up and see how you're doing. But yeah, shout outs to Shannon. Love her. Great person.
It's been since sometime today. All right, let's look at our next one.
Give me some more Facebook memes. I want to see like the grossest Facebook group memes possible. I hope you're delivering today. Oh, Nitty's giving us $10 too. Saint Nitty must give. Thank you, Nitty. Oh, I love Nitty. Nitty's great.
I do
shout
too.
outs to Nitty. Go check out Nitty's channel if you haven't already. Nitty puts out some good stuff.
You know, I think they made something for us, and I feel really bad. I get so many like emails and social medias and stuff, and if I see one like during the workday or when I'm at all busy, I like forget to go back to it. And I think he like gave a remix of something we did or something.
Wait, really? Nitty did a remix on us? Oh shit, I gotta watch that.
If I'm correct, Nitty, go ahead and put a link in the channel.
Yeah, and I gotta see that.
Unfortunately, Dan,
we owe Shannon $300 American. Which
stupid economy.
That makes sense. I went to Montreal this year for the first time, Shannon, and I have notes for your country. But ask me about that later. That's for a different time. We're talking about Christmas right now. So
my main notes for Canada is like, let me immigrate. And
okay. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I know I literally just said we have other things to talk about, but like realistically, how easy is it for you to just fuck off to Canada, Zod? Because like you could just get in a car and drive, and who's stopping you? Your state is like gigantic, right? Surely you can do it. Just get like a snowmobile.
Yeah, that would work.
That would work, right? Yeah, are there snow border patrol? Is there snow? Oh, do they have an ice equivalent? Is it like super ice because it's like really cold?
There's basically, you'd have to go through so many woods you'd never survive. Like, and there's one road. There's like one big highway you have to take up, and there's like one shack on like 30 miles on one side of the border and one on the other. It's a very small, not.
So it's a skill issue, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
is that they don't make it. See, okay, Shannon, First of all, okay, now I'm getting into fights with Shannon Q on the internet. But Shannon, you live in I don't know if you've actually said publicly where you live. You live in Nowheresville, Canada. Okay, you don't live in Montreal. Montreal is where all the fancy French people are at, and I know you're not living there. Okay, you're out in the boonies, so you could have came to come see me. That's all I'm saying. But
It's safe to say you don't cross the Alaskan border and land on Shannon's house.
I'm pretty sure they don't have airports near where Shannon lives. That's all I'll say. I don't think that's a thing. But man, we have another donation as well. From Shorp. Sco Harp. How do you say this? Sco Harp. Who says when
Sorry,
does
I tried to bring it up and our chat's going too fast.
Yeah, it's going too fast now. Everybody's talking. When does a joke become a dad joke on the delivery? This is $50. Wow. That's $50, right? That's a lot of money. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
That's
real dollars.
That is real dollars, not that plastic money. That is a very generous donation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And because of that, I just want to ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you like to tell dad jokes?
Do I like to tell dad jokes?
Well, I was asking SEO Harp, but I don't know if they'll
okay, that
be
makes
able to
sense.
answer me very easily. And then when they say yes, you're supposed to say, does he laugh?
I think, Zod, every joke you tell inherently is a dad joke because you are a father. Is that not how that works? I think that's how it works.
My kids would say so, yes. And she did make it out herself, so we're okay.
Okay, she did.
Live in
Nova Scotia, where nobody lives. I'm sorry, population of a baker's dozen. Who's out in Nova Scotia? Shannon Q and goats. I think that's it. So anyway, I'm just saying, Shannon, you could have come see me in Montreal. I would have had a great time with you, but I was too busy trying to pretend I understood French.
I live about as far as from Nova Scotia is like, that's about the biggest distance you can live away from someone in the North American continent.
You probably live as far from Nova Scotia as I do to Nova Scotia. It's probably like pretty close. But yeah, it was a great time. Montreal was awesome.
Bethany Matthews, maybe a bit late, but
low Saturnalia.
Pronounce that for me. There you go, y'all.
Yeah, which is great. Thank you, Bethany. That's a nice donation too. And yes, low Saturnalia. We'll take it.
More like Nova Scotia.
Damn.
We're keeping it classy here on the Zodanza Holiday Special.
Shivers also said earlier that we need more cussing on this stream, which I appreciate. So maybe we'll do that. But we've been on this Facebook meme for like 10 minutes. I want to see what else you got. Okay, here we go.
All right. This isn't a really in-your-face Christian one. I just like this one.
Okay. Literally, we were just talking about dad jokes. This is the most dad joke you could have possibly told. Really, we'll give him gold and frankincense, but wait, there's myrrh. Don't I need another drink for that one of my hot chocolate because
all these in your face put the Christ and Christmas things, and this is the one you find disgusting. All right. Speaking of disgusting,
so what's actually the point of this is what I'm trying to what's the message I'm supposed to receive from this? Maybe we should start with that.
I think it's like about Mary's sacrifice. Like there's her little baby and the baby's gonna be a bloody man.
First of all, this is Mary 30 years later looking excellent. My goodness, what is her skincare routine? Great. Looks like the same person almost. I don't even think that happened historically. I'm pretty sure they just took the body down and just put it in a tomb. I don't think she got to like caress him and stuff. So this is a historical fiction of a historical fiction, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, maybe this is more accurate to history because this is showing him just like thrown in the pit with everybody else, and she's going and I don't know.
Is anything here accurate to historical history, Zod? I don't know.
It's the sentiment of it.
Yeah.
You know, she gave birth to this baby and was loving on him and stuff, but the whole reason she gave birth to him so he could be brutally killed. And so,
Hooray.
it's
What a beautiful message. So,
yeah.
okay, what's the moral here is you can kiss babies and also dying men, and look good doing it. That's my takeaway. This is basically a L'Oreal commercial.
My takeaway is Christians. I think anywhere you go trying to really analyze this is going too far, including like, oh wow, how well is Mary held up? That I don't think was the point.
Why is she smiling in that second way? She
She's
looks
crying.
happier to see her dying son than she does to see that baby.
Maybe it's because her sins are forgiven. She suddenly feels relieved of her guilt.
Oh my God. Zod, if there is a hell, we're going to it. You understand that, right? We signed that fucking contract with the devil. Like, we're done. That's it. Oh shit. Yeah.
But yeah, I think my real takeaway and the reason I included this is like Christians just have this fixation on just weird, gross things, and they think it's touching or something, and I just find it nasty. I don't know.
It is nasty.
I think it's just
I'm getting
demented
Passion
in my
of the
mind.
Christ vibes from this.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah,
for sure. When a stranger talks to me about Jesus, I know him. That's I could see this as a reflexive sort of remark from somebody who is like a casual Christian and somebody like getting a talk to on the street. This is innocuous to me.
yeah.
It's not too bad. What do you think?
No, I don't think there's anything bad about it. It's slightly cute. It's co-opting a thing about Santa. If you're that enthusiastic about Jesus, as long as you're like not running around being crazy about it.
My youth pastor was really into Elf. I'm pretty sure we watched Elf every year when he was my youth pastor around Christmas time. Was Elf okay in the Zod household, or was Elf too much of the devil or whatever?
I don't think that was out when I was a child.
Oh, well, that's true. that's fair. Yeah, okay. Elf probably came out after you were a grown ass man. That's also true. But hey, look, we got Apologia in the chat as well. Man, we got all of our friends here just hanging out with us for this Christmas special. It feels nice. It's a good feeling.
Yeah. I was thinking of having just all these people just come on and have just this big extravaganza of people piling through, but I thought of it like yesterday. So,
I like how Shannon says, shit, Paul found me, as if like Paul is here to pick up Shannon from the function that she has crashed into.
She's dragging her up because she's drunk.
Yeah, exactly. That's
stealing $300 and making all kinds of weird comments.
She's making really offensive comments to like the local, what's not the Amish, but the local Mennonite community in some Canadian village somewhere. And Paul is just pulling up like, all right, we got to take you home. Come on.
They just smile at her and turn the other cheek.
Yeah. Here we go. Each of us is an innkeeper who decides if there is room for Jesus. Wow. It's facts. That's true.
I guess so.
Yeah. No, that's just straight up fact. I don't know what's the problem with this one, Sod. We're all innkeepers at the end of the day. Do you have room for Jesus?
Sure, I guess.
Oh, look at that. Look, the Christmas spirit is even infecting Zod tonight. I don't have any room. We're closed over here at Hotel Dan.
As long as he's not one of those Jesus is trying to cross the border and poison our blood and stuff like that.
I'm imagining like Hedonist 2, like one of those like crazy hotel situations, and them saying, "Oh, we don't have room for Jesus," which has made this image a little bit funnier in my mind.
Yeah,
but
I've thought of, I probably can't go back to cartoons. They just take too much time, and I just don't have that much time in my life right now. But I thought of doing one where they just like it's like a little documentary where you interview all these side characters from the Bible or from the Gospels, the Christmas story. And one of them I thought of was the poor beleaguered innkeeper who's like really busy and has his whole place is full, and these Karens come in and just insist that they need
Yeah.
this place.
No,
Poor
like
guy was already having
we're
a long enough
legitimately
night.
full. We don't have any room for you. That's it. Sorry. But I think the implication, I literally, unironically, Zod, I think the implication is Jesus and Co were literally foreigners, and they didn't want to let foreigners like into the inn. Like, I think that's the subtext. I'm not even joking. I think that's like literally what that's supposed to imply. Because the Matthew narrative emphasizes their immigration status, you know,
Yeah.
like, and I think that's kind of where that comes from, because like a lot of the Christmas narrative comes from Matthew, right? Like, I don't know, what do you think?
And Luke. I think Luke
And
has
Luke and Luke, but yeah,
this, I just basically, when I was scrolling through Facebook, these things would keep popping up, especially once I started clicking a couple of them, and it's just, I don't know. I find it, everyone has their stuff, they post their sentiments and maybe their opinions. Taking a festive season like Christmas and making an opportunity to make all these comments about how you should, like, you know, make the right choice for Jesus or whatever,
yeah.
it sits a little wrong with me.
Let's also talk about, can we you know what, we've neglected, Zod. We haven't talked about the artistry of this work. Can we talk about the fact that somebody literally just stole a painting and just like took a picture of their bookmark for their Bible and like you slap that shit on in MS Paint, like onto, I don't even know if you can do that in MS Paint. This might be too advanced. Like
You could, you just have to paste it. You couldn't, like, you wouldn't have enough flexibility with it, but you could paste it on there.
Yeah, but this was, I mean, this, it's an ugly piece is what I'm trying to say. Like, they didn't even try. They just took like a brown, this was clearly like another image just slapped onto another image. I think that's what's happening here. Like, this isn't an original composition. This is just two pictures smushed together into one.
Whoever did that painting, it's reasonably okay looking. It's, they put
Yeah.
effort into it, and to just have someone half-ass slap a thing on there like that.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard this, by the way, but Paul has a comment. Bethlehem wasn't large enough to have inns.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're right, Shivers. This is the Photoshop is my passion sort of post, which I love that. But it's like, so I've thought, sorry, side tangent, and then I really want to move on. Zod, have you ever thought about, and I'm going to use this word, we got an email about this that I never wrote back to somebody. I'm going to use this word. There is sort of a boomer version of that meme of like Photoshop is my passion, where like there's these very weird conservative art pieces that like have to be original because like they're pencil made or whatever, but I don't know like who they're making it for. Like somebody who has a very competent understanding, at least, to use Photoshop or Illustrator to like make some sort of graphic arts thing, but like is the kind of stuff that you see on podunk t-shirts and like weird Facebook groups. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's a very specific genre of, shall we call it, Americana, you know, that you just don't see you know, out there in the world.
I think
You know
maybe
what I mean?
next time you're gonna have to bring me an example.
We'll have to bring an example. I want to talk about this because this is a recurring phenomenon where I'm like, how do you know how to put this image together, yet your opinions on the world are as foolhardy as they are, shall we say?
Yes.
Foolhardy, I think, is the right way to say that. But anyway, it's true.
By the way,
I do have a terminal degree in meme composition. It's absolutely true. One of my few qualifications. Thank you for acknowledging that, Shannon. That's Dr. Dan to you, by the way. I did my doctorate on boomer meme composition and the history thereof. It took me a long time to get that thesis off the ground. Anyway, let's go to the next one.
No, please tell me more about the story of your degree.
Oh, please. Yeah, let me go into intimate detail about my bibliography. But anyway, no, we should move on. Who is Louis Giglio? Before I read all this text, do you know who?
How about you read and I'll Google?
All right, okay. We go from Malachi to Matthew in one page of our scriptures, but that one piece of paper that separates the Old Testament from the New Testament represents 400 years of history. 400 years where there wasn't a prophet. 400 years where God's voice wasn't heard, and that silence was broken with the cry of a baby on Christmas night. Wow. It's beautiful. Yeah, so 400 years from the Bible standpoint, there were definitely 100% people claiming to hear the voice of God within that 400-year time span. You just didn't put it in the Bible. Like that is the only distinction made there. So just want to point that out. But
this sums up just a ton that I hate about like really narrow-minded infantile evangelical culture that's like they fixate on the Bible and don't know anything about anything else around them.
It's true. The Bible, the evangelical culture is like the Bible is the only book that actually existed. Like they really think this. It's like this was the only literature, the only culture that was around 2,000 years ago in the Middle East. There was nothing else going on. People were only talking about the Bible and census scripts from the Roman government. That was it. And Josephus for some reason, but that was it. There was no other books or philosophy or works of art and culture, just the Bible.
Or even if they know what's out there, like the only thing of any like cultural substance they read is just the Bible. So they think its teachings are amazing. They think its poetry is just the greatest thing ever. And I don't know. This captures a lot of that because, like you said, they think that 400 years, nothing was happening. There were no other works
Just
written
nothing
or
else
people
going on in the
prophesying.
world. Yeah.
Just because what they specifically think was canon and is the word of God, there was supposedly, I don't know if the time frames are really that accurate, was the gap in there. And then this just really basic, stupid, like poetic imagery of like a baby crying, like reopened the prophetic. Yeah, it just is like
Yeah.
this is like your Christian aunt's little artwork on her kitchen wall type, just banal and just grinds on my every nerve.
Yes. Yeah. It is.
Sorry, I'll regain my.
No, it is profundity in like it's literally making a mountain out of a molehill, right? It's profundity in something that is not profound in nature.
Yeah.
Because this is your only culture. Like when you're a Christian, evangelical Christianity basically does teach you this is your only culture, right? So you have to make the most of it. So you will absolutely squeeze like an orange all the juice you can out of this one book to make something new that hasn't been said in the 2,000 or so years that it's been out there as a work. And
the yada yada to Alexander the Great.
yeah, then yada 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 Alexander the Great. Exactly. I clicked on it at the same time here. Super chat from YouTube Punk, who says, "All I want for Christmas is my open records request on Debt J Dubs to be completed in full. P.S. Dog speed on your recovery." Thank you so much, YouTube Punk. As I said, I'm much better than I was before. Like it's really a night and day difference. But it has been a much larger struggle than I originally anticipated. I really thought I was going to be fine in a week or two, and it took much longer. But I'm doing really well, so thank you.
And by the way, what they sent in so far in response to that request, and I think they're trying to make that the only thing, is just this like spreadsheet. I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but it's just this spreadsheet that's almost all entirely redacted. And I think all the information you can get out of it is what his salary was at the time that he retired. So whatever.
That's too bad. You got some more for me here. Let me read this.
There's the last one.
There's the last one. Okay. Covering your mouth when you yawn, wearing wedding rings, keeping cats as pets. Behold the modern tradition of pretending things are pagan. Covering your mouth when you yawn? What?
I don't know.
Listen, I know some real ass pagans. Okay. I'm talking like we'll go out in the backyard and worship their local deity kind of pagans. Okay. this is not what they talk about. They're into some way more interesting stuff than this. Okay, like this is like the worst possible examples you could have picked. I don't know, as pretending to be pagan or whatever. This is a weird one. I don't get this one, Zod.
What I take this from is not as much what they don't think this is as much coming from actual pagans, is this is all the people saying that everything about Christmas was pagan. That's what I think this is in the spirit of, because there's this whole thing circulating Twitter where they're making fun of people for always saying that everything related to Christmas is pagan.
You're right. I'm misinterpreting this meme. So the argument is that these mundane things are pagan as in jest to the people who are saying that everything is pagan. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. I did not interpret this meme correctly. Clearly my doctorate is faulty. I'm gonna have to go back to school again for meme composition.
Maybe that meme wasn't boomer enough for you. It just wasn't within your field of specialty.
You know, I was warned that my online degree from Cuba would not hold the same weight or standards as an American university, and maybe I should have listened, because clearly it's failed me at this time. But yeah, I agree with the meme in the sense that, yeah, there's definitely, I mean, we talked about this earlier. There's people that say that stuff is pagan when it's like really more complicated. Like there's definitely an over dependence on things being pagan to explain Christmas traditions. But that's not to say that not all of it isn't pagan. Certainly some of it is. I just think like people do kind of go too far with it sometimes.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So Dan, this is going to be an extra long Zodanza.
Yeah.
I need to use the restroom. So just entertain people for a second. Okay.
Okay. Well, shit. All right. I'm going to do that then. Apologia is saying none of this is as good as Jesus' tradition of scolding people for washing their hands before they eat. And I agree. That is one of the most egregious examples of this dude was just a dude and clearly not the Son of God that you can find in the New Testament. But people really don't go that route when they talk about Jesus. It's very bizarre. But like, yeah, I don't think the Son of God would ever say something even remotely close to what he said, if that was true. And Shannon also saying Dan went to the same meme college as Ken Hovind, apparently. And I guess so. I like that lore. I like the lore that I went to the same college as Ken Hovind did, but my degree is in the ideologically radically opposite direction of what Ken Hovind got. But it's from the same degree, from the same like degree mill or diploma mill, regardless. That is funny. I'd like to instantiate that as official Objectively Dan history, that I did go to the same collegiate academy as the trailer park that Ken Hovind got his degree from, or whatever. Man, so I'm feeling like, you know what I'm feeling right now, guys? Zod is the innkeeper that has rejected me from staying with him. Actually, wait, no, metaphor doesn't work, because I'm hosting the show right now. I guess I'm the innkeeper, but I'm not kicking Zod out. He just had to go to the bathroom. So, there's a interesting conundrum. An unprecedented time in Zodanza history where one of us is here not because of any technical issues, but because a man just had to go so badly he couldn't wait another hour. And he was just like, I'm just going to do it, and didn't give me any preemptive warning whatsoever. And you know what? Respect. Because that means he trusted my abilities to carry this show without him for as long as need be. And that's a trust you don't find in a lot of friendships today. Hey, Zod, we're back.
Hey, my forehead looks pretty cool.
Did you get the mark of the beast in the bathroom? What's going on?
I have a mild skin condition where if I rub my skin at all, it like turns a little pink and swells up. And so
I think that's a demon. I think you just got possessed in the bathroom right now. Am I talking to Zod right now? Do I need to pull out a Bible? Somebody get me a Catholic priest and a young Catholic priest, an old one and a young one. We'll solve this right now.
I just wanted to show off something real quick. You were talking about like Photoshop skills and things like that. And I wanted to show something I was given when I met someone at the airport. Someone made me
Ooh.
a t-shirt.
Wow.
It's freehand drawn on a tablet. So that is like the first, to my knowledge, the first unofficial Prophet of Zod merchandise.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Dude, I want to live my life in such a way to where bootleg merchandise is created on my behalf. That's how you know you're living good. I want to be the Che Guevara of atheist t-shirts. You know,
it was a very thoughtful present.
That's great. I love that for you. Congratulations. You deserve it.
Well, thanks. Boy, you're really nice today. Makes me feel bad for all the
hot
times
chocolate.
I'm mean for you.
The hot chocolate
also makes me feel times for the makes me feel bad for all the premeditated meanness I had planned for tonight, but I'll let it.
Oh no. Oh no. This holiday tale just took a turn. I didn't realize.
Speaking of things you love for me, how about a little Mike Winger?
Okay, I was wondering when we were going to get to old Mike tonight.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about Mikey Mike.
Bring out the mic.
Bring out the mic.
Should Christians trick kids about Santa? This is literally the title of his video.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just jump right into this thing.
I'm ready.
I'm ready too.
What do you tell your kids about Santa? Oh, a strangely volatile question. Is there a chance that kids who find out Santa isn't real might think the same about Jesus? Will you spoil Santa for children that aren't yours? All right, let me separate the Santa issue into a few topics. One, it'll ruin your faith. Or will it ruin your faith, right? That topic, that's a separate question. Then there's a separate issue that I'm more on board with, which is that is not true. This is moving towards the realm of bold-faced deception for the sake of your own entertainment, but it's deception.
Real quick, it's not bold-faced deception, right?
Okay.
That's bald-faced deception, right?
Well, wait, can you not say bold? Is boldface not also a thing? Hang on. Now I'm confused because I thought boldface was okay to say.
All right.
Maybe I'm
Google
wrong.
it while we watch Mike talk.
It's not play, which is different. Kids know play. Play's fun, play's good. Play, I'm going to be a monster attacking you. But you're not actually convincing your kid you're really a monster attacking them, right? That's play. This is just bold-faced deception, in my opinion.
Okay, can we pause? You're right. It is bold-faced deception. I'm thinking because bold-faced is a word, but like not in this way. You're right. That's, I don't know. As I'll say this, as somebody who has probably used the wrong word to describe things a lot, in a live context, that doesn't bother me that much. Granted, he did edit and post this, so maybe he shouldn't have said that. But you know.
And then he also said it twice.
He did say it twice. He's making a list and checking it twice. He's going to find out who believes in Santa or not and who's going to go to hell. Mike Winger's coming to town. You like my rendition of Santa Claus is coming to town, but instead replacing it with Mike Winger? I thought it was original and creative.
I guess it's fine. You've been really nice to me, so I like it.
Damn. Oh, all right. Okay, let's keep this going then.
But I like there's a conversation to be had here about whether you should tell your kids Santa's real or indicate that they are. I think it's probably more innocent that he's letting on, but it's really weird and kind of crass that he calls it like bold-faced deception for the sake of your own entertainment. Like these parents are doing it just to amuse themselves.
Hold on, Zod. See, okay, you alluded to this earlier because I didn't realize we were going to have such a big disagreement on this, but is he wrong though? Is he wrong? What? Though? It is a mass cultural lie we tell the children, right? Like, I mean, you know what's funny is that I talk to a lot of people who believe in conspiracy theories, okay? And a point that people make is like, or against conspiracy theories is, well, how can you get so many people to stay silent on an issue? It has to be real, right? And if you think about it from the Santa Claus perspective, it's like, how can you get so many parents to lie to their children about Santa being real? Of course, he has to be real, right? There's no way that we have this mass cultural gaslighting, but we do. I mean, it is kind of gaslighting. in a way, telling kids that, that there's this magical being that lives north of you, wherever you are in the world, that gives you presents. I don't know. Just something to think about.
Yeah, there's actually 5 different stages to gaslighting, and so I don't think you're technically correct.
Well, okay, if you're telling a 3-year-old child something that isn't true and pretending like it is, I don't know. Is that not gaslighting? Do we have to go into a technical definition of it?
It's not.
All right.
Gaslighting, for gaslighting, I think it needs to be something the person can observe as evidently true, and you keep telling them that it's not, to like make them question their own sanity. And there are also varying stages to it. And the reason I like that is because I played from Knowing Better. He did a thing about gaslighting, and I played it before another Mike Winger video and showed that Mike was doing like every single stage of that in his video. And
okay, all right, okay, I see. Listen, Shannon Q is telling me in the chat that it isn't, so maybe I'm in the wrong here. But think about this, Zod. Maybe I'm being gaslighted right now. What do you think of that? I like that idea. I'm going to stick with the I'm always right position.
As long as you're wrong about gaslighting, you might as well just dig in and get more wrong.
I might as well continue.
Which is a category of replacement. Okay, let me come back to that one. How is Santa replacement, that issue? So first off, does Santa cause people to lose their faith? Sometimes it does cause the unbreaking of a dam, where, and I know there's testimonies. I actually asked on Twitter, I think it was on Twitter a long time ago. I just asked whoever followed me there. Those of you who were taught that there was a Santa Claus, that he was real and all that, when you found out there wasn't, how did that affect you? I was just curious. And I'd seen a variety of responses. Some people said this was like, totally made me question everything about God, because somehow the concept of Santa and their belief in that felt similar when they stopped believing that to their belief in God.
So this just brings up a story. When I was younger, we weren't allowed to do anything with Santa Claus, but we had some atheists, like aunt, uncle, and cousins who never went to church or anything, and they did Santa and everything. And so either I or some of my brothers were like, well, how can you believe in Santa? You never see him, and you never blah, 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 blah. And, and then my cousin's just like, isn't that the exact same way it is with God?
I mean, it's like, it's a very like simple analogy, right? It's like, it's not super academic, but like, I don't think they're wrong. There's a whole episode of BoJack Horseman where it's literally not even a regular episode. It's their fake Christmas special that they do. I don't know if you've seen BoJack Horseman, but the entire time they're making analogies to, like, the point of the episode is the little girl is figuring out that Santa isn't real. And the entire thing is about God. And the show is like not an anti-Christian show, or it really doesn't talk about religion that much. But for some reason, they like totally went there with the Christmas episode. And it just like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, yeah, if you're going to question people's, logic on the Santa thing, it may make you question the logic on the God thing, because it's kind of similar in like a lot of real respects, Yeah.
But let's see if Mike sees it that way.
Yeah.
Now, it's not for me, okay? And it shouldn't be, because your reasons for believing in Santa versus your reasons for believing in God are radically different. And anybody who goes, if you still believe in God, you may as well believe in Santa. Like, this is a very shallow faith. It's a faith that's not, it's responsive merely to I believe in God because people around me say so. Instead of like, I look around and I perceive that God's been revealed through creation. I look at fulfilled prophecy, or I consider the resurrection of Jesus, or I see the work of God in my own life. Like, Santa ain't got nothing like that on me. So this is a thing apologists do like so predictably, and I just love/hate it. Like, they just make this general appeal to, and there's prophecy, and there's the argument from this, and there's the God working in your life, and I don't know. I just find it strange, this like desperate need to, actually Christianity's way different, and throw out all these totally well-worn apologetics canards.
And well, here's another thing, Zod, is that he's saying, well, look, God has worked in my life and stuff. I can cite these things. They're different. Okay, listen, Santa's worked in my life too. He's been giving me gifts every year since I was a kid. So what do you have to say about that? About that, Mike? Huh? He's working in my life too. Anyway, that's me being facetious. But the point is, if you interpret world events in a certain light as God doing it or whatever, yeah, you're going to think that's evidence. But the point is, like, nobody else is interpreting it that way. You know, like the only other people that are interpreting it that way are other Christians. But like the broader community at large isn't acknowledging God working in people's lives. It's just people interpreting God, people working in their lives. It's really not the same thing, but not in the way that Mike is saying.
Could there really possibly be a materialistic explanation for how we feel the spirit of Christmas in our hearts if Santa did not exist?
Maybe. We could cite like Taylor Swift Christmas album record sales and see if there's a correlation there. I don't know. There's something we could.
If you set aside all the arguments, it really comes down to the inner witness of the Santa Claus.
Yeah, you're right. It is the inner witness of the Santa Claus. I agree.
We can move on, but I also love that he said like it's a really shallow faith, as if there's like, I like to picture that there's like deeper and more shallow versions of believing things for no good reason.
Yeah. But that is Mike's worldview and the apologist worldview as well, is that there is a subset of Christians that believe for basically the wrong reasons. And it's very rare that they'll admit this, but yeah, they are believing in God for absolutely the wrong reasons. And whether or not that disqualifies them from Christianity or from being saved, even, they'll never say, but they will say that there are strong reasons to believe in a God, right? Or in the historical account of Jesus or whatever.
And all those people become us eventually.
Well, yeah, not all of them, but the honest ones do, maybe, for sure. Inner witness of the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, Paul's just here, just showing me that I'm like getting the phrases of my jokes just slightly off, because the inner witness of the Christmas spirit makes a lot more sense than the inner witness of the Santa Claus spirit.
I like the inner witness of the Christmas spirit. It's good.
Yeah, that works a lot better. That's what I would go back in time and phrase my joke as if I could do it. Andrew Sword. My ex-wife said to me, "What starts with F and ends with K?" I told her, "No, it doesn't. Good night and happy holidays."
Wow.
So thank you for the $6.66 and the most excellent joke.
And the dad jokes are rolling tonight. I hope we keep coming with these great jokes.
Strange, but it does happen in some cases. I don't think it's the majority. I don't think it's common. Think of it like a medication someone takes and they go, in rare cases, there's this side effect. I think that in rare cases, there's the side effect of people abandoning their faith, at least appearance-wise, saying, I don't know about this whole God thing. That's a concern, okay? Even a rare side effect is still a side effect. Okay, so that is a concern, but I would not want to project that onto everybody. I think most people who believe in Santa as a kid, it has no impact on their beliefs about God and religion, and it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Plenty of us had believed things that were not true that our parents told us, maybe because they thought it was true. Why would this affect my belief in God? It shouldn't. But in some cases it does.
So I like this because he talks about how bringing up Santa could be a concern because the analogy could make you question your belief in God. Yeah. I think if you believe in something, that the very mention of a fake thing like Santa gets you to question it, then maybe the problem isn't that you brought up the silly, frivolous fake thing. Maybe it's that the nature of what you believe is such that bringing up Santa Claus feels analogous and is going to make you stop believing it.
Yeah, this is one of those things. And I like when we watched this video, I knew like this was going to be a good one to talk about, because it's like, it's one of those ones where, yeah, I 100% agree with you, Mike, but for the exact exact opposite reasons you do. They think it's bad because the reasoning is bad and is not the same as his reasoning. I think that happens. People do leave the faith because of the Santa thing. Admittedly, it's not super common, but I have seen people talk about it. because it is the same reasoning. Like it may not be Mike's specific reasoning, but it more or less boils down to very similar points of intersection, right? Like, you believe because other people believe this thing. You believe because it's nice to believe this thing. You believe because you don't understand a world where it wouldn't be true, right? Like there are some intersections there, and it's uncomfortable to point that out because, again, it is simplistic. It is kind of shallow in a way. It's kind of low brow, but there's still some truth to it for sure.
And really, Santa is just purely going to be an illustration. Like, it might be the one little thing that triggers a thought in your head.
Yeah.
But if you're there and you're open to that, I think any other number of mythological things could do the trick.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like the comment from Skeptics and Scoundrels: people abandoning their faith, at least appearance wise. Nice one there, Mike.
Yeah. The truth is, the vast majority of Christians who have ever believed in Christianity did not do so because of the reasons why Mike Winger does, right? Mike Winger believes it for very specific historical accounts and other revelations that come from science and, writings from modern times that are retrospective on the academic work that's come in the years since. For the vast majority of history, Christians, one, have not had access to those kinds of resources, but two, really had a way different understanding of God and the historical accounts and what have you than Mike does. Like, Mike's belief in Christianity is not representative of Christianity as a whole. And maybe that's part of where the dissonance comes in, because the mainstream Christianity does match up more with the Santa thing than what might be comfortable to admit.
Do you want to know why a lot of people don't believe in Christianity the same way Mike does?
Why is that, Zod?
2 words: false teaching.
Oh, you're right.
It's everywhere, dude.
Dude, it's in like 3 books of the New Testament. I know. They talk about it a lot. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I see comments about how, people generally just believe because they were raised and just didn't question it or whatever. That is the case with Mike. I'm sorry. I generally don't like to make assumptions, but apologetics is just retroactively justifying it. Unless Mike would really have us think, like, if he grew up in India and then just started reading books and researching, he would like find his way to Christianity because it's that evidently true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
Okay. The second issue is that of it's just a deception. Telling your kids, we're going to pretend there's a Santa Claus, that would be one thing, but deceiving them, I know it's common. Okay. And every argument against the deception thing, well, let me put it this way. A lot of the arguments against me here, like I said, is volatile, would be, that's not a problem. And you're really thinking it's not a problem because we always do that. And we've always done that. And for generations, we've done that. So how could it be a problem? You're basically insulting my grandma by saying this, Mike. And I'll be like, well, your grandma's not as perfect as you think anyways, but more to the point.
Ooh, dude.
Yeah, you don't know my grandma, you jackass.
Mike is slamming on your grandma right now. He is calling her out. He says, your grandma sucks, by the way. Her cookies were not even that good. They were like store-bought bullshit. Mike is going hard right now on the mic. Wow, that's crazy.
My grandma, and this is true, smuggled Bibles into Cuba. So you are like a junior warrior for Christ there, Mike Winger.
Smuggled Bibles into Cuba? Were Bibles not allowed under communist Cuba? Is that?
I guess not. I don't know.
Is that like
she'd bring suitcases with fake backings and stuff and like put Bibles in them and everything.
Oh man. The more I learn about your family history, Zod, the more I realize you are the ultimate Christian. You have the ultimate Christian background, honestly. I love that for you. That's great. I wish mine was as cool. I was just like generic suburban Christianity. You were like, yeah, my grandmother like killed the Cuban guy to get to Cuba to spread the Bibles. Like, that's awesome.
Well, she went there like on a tourist pass or whatever, and then
I like my story better.
Toward the end, I guess she snuck them some little like PDA, like electronic version of the Bible. I don't know. I have a feeling some of this might have been overblown, the lack of Bibles in Cuba or the illegality of it or whatever. But
Yeah.
okay, the ultimate Christian story, and this is just comes from my grandpa. My grandma was in Europe. She lived in Belgium during the war and everything. My grandpa came over in the service, and that's how they met. But he went to some Youth for Christ thing that she invited him to, and he says that he was in the back looking all tentative, and there's an altar call, and Billy Graham walked straight up to him and said, "You need Jesus," and like prayed for him and stuff.
Wow. That's awesome. That's pretty cool.
He wasn't I guess Billy Graham wasn't the big celebrity he was quite yet back then, but
I mean, it could have fooled me. I don't know. That's something. It's more than what my family's got.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about Mike's point here. What do you think about what Mike just said? Like, I know I kind of went on a tangent here about the grandma thing, but as far as like what he's saying, do you think it's wrong? Because okay, let me start with my analysis. I actually don't think Mike's wrong. If I ever plan to have children, I don't plan on telling them about Santa, because why not just tell them that you love your kid and you got gifts for them? Like, isn't that better for building a meaningful relationship than just lying and pretending there's a magic dude that gives you gifts? I just don't really get the point of the Santa thing. It is kind of more for the adults' entertainment, for like tricking kids and thinking it's funny to me. I just don't see the benefit. Like, does the kid not think that is the world a more magical place if Santa is in it? I guess, but isn't it also magical that you have a parent that loves you and is willing to like get stuff for you? I don't know. There's something to be said there. So again, there's these weird points where I agree with Mike, but not for the same reasons at all. What do you think?
I think Super Critical Snake's grandma's basement smelled like standing water and satanic orgies.
Standing water and satanic orgies is a visceral mental image. So thank you for that.
So I have roughly the same perspective as you do. I can tolerate people having seeing a different side of this or whatever. But actually, one thing my non-belief has done for me is to help me understand what magical feelings and stuff like that really are. You can still appreciate them, and you can still enjoy and in some metaphorical way see it as magical, whatever feeling you get, but you can kind of break down and analyze the pieces of it, and that helps you like it without being diluted or maybe being taken advantage of people who try to get you to misunderstand it. And so that's how I feel about the Santa Claus thing. You can believe in some form of spirit of Christmas or but you can also do it while literally understanding that feeling is kind of brought about by maybe music and family gathering and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I personally think that I think that's a better way to understand what's really going on. And also, while I wouldn't condemn people, and I'm not as hardline as you're lying to your kids for your own entertainment.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that crass of a thing. I think people think their kids are enjoying it, and I don't think it's the way to go. I don't like the idea of telling my kids something that's really evidently untrue and then having to walk it back eventually. I just don't see the benefit to that.
Yeah. I figured out the whole Santa thing. Like, I don't think the Santa thing really ever made sense to me in some sense, but like Santa was never like a big deal in my household. It was always like a joke that it was Santa giving gifts, but I don't think I ever truly 100% believed Santa was giving gifts to me. So my perspective might be different, but I don't know. The world is already cruel and sad enough. I think it's the best thing you can give your kids is saying that you have parents that love you and are with you no matter what, and not that Santa's gonna get you a PS5 if you're good enough this year. I don't know. Yeah. There's a weird like kind of authoritarian element to it where it's like, oh, Santa's gonna give you coal if you act bad, which acting bad is not doing what mom and dad says, right? So I don't know. I'm also not a parent. So yeah.
Which is exactly what Scott's saying here. Santa's controlling mechanism for parents. You better be good or well.
Yeah.
And I think most kids dwell in roughly the same space that a lot of parents do. I think there's a little bit of cooperative play going on. I don't think in most cases it is a very straightforward. It might be depending on the age. I don't think it's always a really straightforward deception going on and kids 100% believe. I think most kids are perceptive enough. They have to know that stuff comes from the store. Like elves didn't manufacture all these electronics and put them in factory packaging and branding and stuff like that. And I think deep down, most of them get that their parents probably got it. And
see, the understanding that I got growing up, because I grew up when the internet was kind of becoming a thing, is I guess that like the North Pole was kind of like an Amazon warehouse where like the elves were just like kind of doing the labor of figuring out who needed what, and were like storing it there in the North Pole so that they could, you know, deliver. It used to be manufacturing, but like they've since phased that out in the internet age, because now they buy in bulk from retailers. That was like unironically kind of my understanding, without like, you know, so direct a language, but that was like my mental.
Did you visualize elves peeing in bottles and having to do little mindfulness things so they don't
I
go
didn't
crazy?
think about the inhumane work conditions those elves probably would have had to gone through in order to support that kind of business. I also didn't think about, I guess I assumed they lived in a commune, because like, are they working for wages? Right? If they are, what are they buying? They live in the North Pole. Like they can't really buy, they have to, what were they doing before the internet? You know, they couldn't like buy stuff online. So I assume they live in a commune together where they manufacture things and lived off of the things that they made together. I don't know. That's
you know,
my analysis.
Dan, there's a rich history of robust apologetics explaining all those things. And
about elves and communism,
it's not all going to be debunked by a online edgelord neck-bearded atheist.
Damn. Okay.
There are centuries of
where's my
philosophical
fedora?
arguments for Santa.
Yeah.
All right, we're halfway through Mike Winger. We need to knock this thing out.
It up. Can we talk about, before we go on, the NES shirt? He's got the NES controller shirt. Do you think he actually owned an NES growing up and played it, or do you think this is like a connecting to the youths kind of thing, or the people his age? What do you think? You think Mike Winger's a gamer? That's what I'm trying to say.
How old is he? I guess that's the question.
He has kids, so at least
he doesn't look old enough to have played an NES, in my opinion. Like
Mm.
I was just entering junior high and stuff when the NES was coming out.
Mike Winger's a fake gamer. That's my claim. I'm sticking with it.
Well, Shannon said that he's her age, and for sure he played the NES.
Okay.
So.
All right. I'll trust Shannon on that.
All right.
We have always done this is not an argument against it being deceptive.
True.
And deceptive in a significant way. If I were to tell kids, we're going to pretend there's a jolly fat dude who's going to bring you presents, and he flies in a reindeer and all this stuff, and they want to partake in a game, that would be, you could have the fun of it, but without the deception. But parents get a delight when their kids really believe that noise on the roof is Santa Claus, and they laugh at their kids and they get a delight out of it. And part of it is them feeling like maybe they could recapture their own sort of youth when they were dumb enough to believe such things.
I feel like there's a lot of just really half-assed psychoanalysis going on here.
You tell me, Zod. I don't have any children. I don't know. I don't understand that dynamic. So you'll have to tell me. You're saying he's full of it?
This could be true for some people, but I feel like he's making a lot of really sweeping generalizations. I can't imagine that across the board, this is how parents are sitting there laughing at their kids. They think there's footsteps. How many kids, I don't know. How many times has it even come up that you really think that a noise on the roof is footsteps? Like maybe occasionally, but
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
And I think that this whole thing is mixed with a level of deception that is unhealthy and that is not appropriate. Is it the worst thing in the world? No. Does it mean they're a bad parent? No, I didn't say that. I think this was a bad act, in my opinion. But it's a bad act that's layered with so much sugar and spice and everything nice and presents and jolly Saint Nick. It's layered with so much sort of surface level goodness that it feels like it's fine. But at the core, it's a very deceptive thing.
You know, this suddenly sounds really, I suddenly really enjoy listening to this if you pretend he's not talking about Santa Claus. If you just take this out of context, it's really awesome to listen to.
Okay,
You just mean like pretending he's talking about God, you mean specifically?
Yeah. It would be great just to edit this out of context.
Oh my God, Todd, you should make a video doing that.
but then there's a third issue. So I couldn't do that. I could not just bold-faced lie to my kids about things like that. I want to raise responsible,
He really thinks it's
thoughtful,
bold-faced.
intelligent adults. I would not lie to my kids about anything like that and just deceive them. Just let them live in fantasy worlds where I just lie to them because it entertains me and it makes them excited, artificially excited about things that aren't true. Like, this does not seem healthy to me in any way. You can send me your letters, P.O. Box something or other. You can message us on the website of how wrong I am, but you better explain why and not just be mad at me, or I'm gonna ignore you. Okay,
just real quick, this is a side thing.
Mm-hmm.
As somebody who even appreciates dad jokes, I'm just offended by what he thinks is humor or when he thinks he's funny. And this isn't just today.
It's
like when he
Christian
just sits
humor.
there and laughs at himself at some little comment he make, I just get so annoyed.
That really bothers you?
I just don't like it.
That's so funny. No, the funny thing is though, I didn't anticipate. I knew we'd probably disagree a little bit. I didn't anticipate we'd disagree as much as we have so far, Zod. I 100% think that everything he said between the last time you paused and to now is like kind of true. Like, yeah, it's just kind of, to me, it just feels like lying to kids for your own entertainment. Because what else is the purpose of it? Is it to make kids think that there's magic in the world? I guess, but like, what happens when you tell them it's not real? Like, what are the implications then? I don't know. It seems more like for the parents than it is for the kids to get something out of it. But again, that's with the huge asterisk. I don't have kids. I've never actually experienced this, so I don't know.
I think this is there's a huge gray area in here. And I think this is one of the things that's really hard to nail down one motivation. And I think when you approach it with systematic logic, you're going to miss the point. You're going to miss the entire mindset of the people who are doing it. I don't think parents start out with a plan and just like, I want to deceive my kids. Like, I think Mike's entire way of explaining this is reductive, not just because he's generalizing to all parents, because I don't think they just sit down and systematically think, haha, it would be funny. I think I think it's just partly, it might just be tradition. And also I think the parents might just dwell in a certain headspace where they're kind of play acting, but they take it seriously. And
yeah. And I don't mean to play defense for Mike Winger because I vehemently disagree with him. But like, I think it'd be fair to say that he would probably say to you, this is probably post hoc rationalization. I think he would probably cite the same things you do in that, yeah, this is probably just tradition. And we're just trying to keep up with the tradition and figuring out reasons why we do it. I don't think he thinks that parents are deliberately being malicious, but
I don't think what I'm doing is really an equivalent of what he does, and I take great offense to what you're saying.
Oh shit. Okay. Well,
and we need to talk about whether this show is going to continue.
I guess we lost the Christmas
kidding, of course.
Here.
By the way, everyone in the audience, I've made it very clear to Dan that when I say things that sound passive aggressive, it's all for the show. I would never air it out on, when we're talking. I save all that for afterwards.
That's right. And if you see me blink 3 times in a row, that means I need help. So
yes,
just FYI.
But where was I? Oh, yeah, I'm not trying to argue toward anything factual, and I'm not arguing even in favor of this practice.
Yeah.
For the same reason that I try to give some kind of charitable interpretation of why Christians believe what they do and why they do some of the things they do, unless you're like a really malignant apologist or something. I just try to get to the bottom of why parents do this. And I think one really core thing here, and I don't know that they think through this really consciously, but remember how we talked about there's a certain magic that you feel inside yourself, and we learn, especially as you come to like deconstruct your religion and everything, what causes that feeling in yourself, right? Maybe part of the thing is parents don't believe that kids can conceptualize that and build that metaphor up out of literal truth. And so saying something about Santa is like giving them that feeling in a way that they couldn't have if you just told them the whole factual story.
Very deep thought there, Zod. I had not considered that. I'll give you a point. So you're saying that this is sort of a reconstruction of a faith that they wish they could have, but don't.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's kind of like if you're religious and you go to church and you feel like you felt Jesus. That's kind of a mental shortcut toward having a certain spiritual experience. You take it as an actual spiritual connection to God, when really it's this a little bit more complex series of how the music set up and how you're experiencing things with a group. It's easier for your mind to go straight to, I'm feeling an actual spiritual thing deep down inside. This is the Holy
I get
Spirit.
that. So I wonder why we value that as people. Why do we think that that's a noble thing to believe despite no good reason to? You know, there is something to Christian culture as a whole, broadly speaking, that does put an emphasis on that as a virtue, right? And this is kind of a microcosm of that. The Santa thing is a simulacrum of the Christian experience of believing despite every good reason not to.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I don't think a lot of it even has to do with belief being a virtue. It's just simply trying to conjure a certain experience. And there are a lot of people, it's not just Christians or religious believers. There are a lot of people who would take my breaking it down and trying to understand it as being overly clinical and missing the whole spirit of it and stuff. And I think maybe just kind of relax and let yourself go with the magic of it. I think that's probably more what's behind the whole Santa Claus phenomenon than parents thinking, haha, let's trick our kids. That's going to be so funny. And we'll go have a drink and have a laugh after they go to bed. It's just, I think the way he's describing it is really weird. That's all.
I get you.
It is
We need
10:30 your time.
Video.
Do you want to just shut off Mike Winger, say we got the point, and move on to a chick track?
I want to hear a little bit more of Mike's take. Because this video is very fascinating to me, on like a psychological level. And I know, like, you just complained about Mike Winger psychoanalyzing people, and that's true. But like, this video exists because there is a tension in the Christian faith that cannot be resolved. And that tension can be explained through the metaphor of Santa, which is why Mike Winger felt the need to create this video. I truly 100% believe that. And to me, that's just fascinating on its own. So I'd like to see it through. Let's
speed run this thing then.
It's Christmas. It's winter solstice. You know?
It is.
Yeah, let's make it happen.
So the third thing is replacement. Santa, and this is something I feel as strongly about. Santa replaces Jesus as the center of the holiday. This is not every case, certainly not in every case. In purposeful families who are intent about the resurrection, the death, the life, the incarnation of Christ, and they care about these things and they want to instill these truths in their kids, and they're true, they're not deceptions. They can do this, and they maybe even have a layer of a Santa thing going on, and they hope that the two don't get muddied together and all this. But for the most part, in most homes, Santa has replaced the emphasis on Jesus. Jesus is a footnote. Santa is the he's the headline. He's the star of the show. That's obviously wrong and bad, right? Because Christmas, if it means anything, it's a celebration of Jesus, his incarnation, God saving the world through his son, sending his son because he loves us so much. This is a great opportunity to preach the truth of Christ, to center people on eternal and important things. But instead what we have is Miracle on 34th Street and these heartwarming surface level good things that are a replacement for what we truly need, which is Jesus.
Okay. So Mike,
sorry.
Well, I'm pausing here because Mike, okay, Santa does not eliminate Jesus. Okay. Now we're going into delusional conspiracy theorist territory. Santa as a concept is not pervasive, particularly in American society, but also in Western countries around the world. Doesn't exist because they want to erase Jesus. It's because Santa is marketable. Okay. You can make Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer claymation films and sell products of that, or elf movies, or whatever you want, because everybody will buy that. Not everybody's going to buy the Jesus merch. And so people don't make that. They want to make the broadest appeal possible. And Santa does that. When you bring up Jesus, it's going to make it awkward for the folks that don't believe or don't care. So it's purely a market force of capitalism, like, as to why Santa is the way it is. Santa, as we know it, is literally the incarnation of Santa. Everybody knows this already, but we know him as the fat dude with the big beard and the red suit because of Coca-Cola, right? Like, it's pure economics. It has nothing to do with nefarious plots or attempts to hide some sort of greater spiritual truth. I don't know. But that's my take. Zod, what do you think?
I had a thought and I lost it.
Oh, too bad.
That's
okay. My thesis was enough, I think. Just kidding. You should contribute to the conversation. This should be.
So I think part of this is, first off, I don't think there's intent here. I don't know that he's saying people intend to use Santa to replace Jesus. I think that maybe it's just a consequence of becoming too secularized or whatever.
Yeah.
And the big part, I know you said that the way he makes it all Jesus, he makes it insufferable for non-Christians. I honestly think it makes it awkward and weird for most Christians.
Yeah.
Because even most believers, if you're the Christian who is always getting out his Bible and talking about Jesus when everyone's about to open presents, or everyone, we need to stop and pray and make it about the Lord, it's uncomfortable and annoying because even though you believe, that's still not the world you dwell in. You still dwell in the natural world and you have natural desires. It reminds me of some of us friends were around playing games. We talked about something like playing Axis and Allies or something. It's some game that was a little more involved. And this one guy says, he was one of those people who was always just like that whenever you talk about anything. He's like, I like to use my time on things that have more eternal consequences. And the whole room just gets kind of And we were all like Camp Crusade Christians and stuff.
Yeah.
But, it's just his whole thing about, and this whole thing is really about the atonement of Jesus and the sacrifice and blah, 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 blah. Nobody really finds that interesting. I'm sorry. Even most Christians, it's kind of like doing your homework. And I think he misses the point if he thinks everybody would just be eating Jesus alive and just loving this, our minds would be on his eternal work in our lives and what it meant for Jesus to come down as a baby. Nothing has to push that out of our minds. Right. We have trouble, even if you're a believer, ginning that up and feeling anything about it because it's just a bunch of mythological nonsense that doesn't touch you where you're at in life. Yeah. And so I don't even think it's Santa. I think it's the music and the celebration and family and presents for kids are probably a much bigger thing than anything else.
It's the pageantry.
And Santa is, I think, kind of peripheral even for kids. I don't think kids are really that excited about Santa, except insofar as he's a name you bring up when you're talking about that they're about to get presents. So I think he's just widely missing the point in a lot of ways. And I find it really annoying. Like nobody really cares about your stupid bullshit Jesus talk and religion and stuff. And they wouldn't care anymore if Santa didn't exist. It's all pointless.
There's Zod coming out with the cuss words now. This is what happens when you go past the hour 30 mark on Zodanza. You get to see Zod after dark. Okay.
If you use it judiciously, it has more punch.
Oh, so my problem is I don't use the language judiciously. I see how it is. Okay. Well, no, you're spitting right now, Zod. 100%. I agree with you. It's just like this is a time of year that's different from the rest of the year. It's not even like about the Santa thing. It's like it kind of feels special. And you know what? That's fine. I like that. It's kind of special. Jesus doesn't have anything to do with it. And to most people, it doesn't. When you have a religion with 1 billion adherents to it, at least, there's going to be different interpretations about how people feel about this thing. And some people are going to feel more, about the pageantry of it and the the narrative, biblical narratives are going to resonate more than others. Personally, how many times am I going to have to go see a nativity play for me to get something out of it? You know what I mean? I know the story. I've seen it. I haven't even seen Napoleon Dynamite that many times. And that's one of my favorite movies. So, it's just there for some people. You're right. It doesn't connect with most modern people anymore. And yeah,
I think one of the grossest parts about it is a big thing at Christmas is just connecting with family. Like that's what I look forward to now. Like I'm at an age where I don't care really that much if I get presents or anything, or I just like that time with family. And that's kind of the point of presents. It's probably a little misguided if you go overboard on it, but it's a way of connecting with your kids, getting them excited about it, getting them appreciative that you gave them something, and you're stirring up family spirit. And to think that time of family connectedness is robbing from you having adequate feelings for some mythological character who came as a baby to die for your sins.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ironically, that's really where you're putting all your emphasis in the wrong place and missing the spirit of it all. That's my opinion.
Ooh, damn. Y'all hearing Zod tonight? He's spitting some good truths. You only get this if you stick around to the hour 40 mark of Zodanza. Okay.
It takes me a good hour and a half to build up steam.
He's got to warm up. He's got to warm up for these cold Christmas nights.
All right. Should we finish up?
Let's wrap this thing up and then get some trick checks.
We know not just as a cutesy baby, but as the incarnate God of all creation coming into the weakness of humankind to bear our sin, to live perfectly, that we might have salvation from death that is chasing us down every day until it finally catches us in our lives. It couldn't be more important, and distracting us from that with Santa Claus seems like a big mistake in my opinion. And here, like I said, there's probably rare cases or uncommon cases where the whole Santa deception causes people to disbelieve or doubt their faith in Christianity and God, and it shouldn't. But then it's probably reversed. Probably in most cases, a focus on Santa equals devaluing, de-emphasis, and a lowering importance, or even completely replacing Jesus as the center of the concept of Christmas, seeking to focus on the incarnation. There's my answers on that. I think our culture is wrong here, big time wrong. And obviously commercially, you're not going to sell as much stuff if you focus on Jesus, but if you focus on Santa, you can. So money is driving it to get even bigger. There you go.
Yep.
Somebody asked, where's Talking Jesus? He's right here. He's always been at my side. He's never left me.
Because you can't market Jesus and make money off of him.
He's not wrong. Well, okay. Well, I should say this. You definitely can, just not in the same market. Clearly, somebody made money off of Zod for buying this beautiful gift for me. So I don't know.
Yeah. Long story short, I think Mike's pushing back against the wrong thing. Like, a lot of Christians and I think a lot of conservatives want to see a problem that's like a big issue of human nature. They want to put it to some small insidious force, like people just generally wanting to have freedoms, like the right to abortion rights and gay marriage and stuff like that. Just basic human rights. People are leaning in that direction because we're becoming more empathetic and we have sensible takes on things and we're just trying to be decent human beings. Conservative evangelicals want to push back against that huge tide and they get eternally frustrated because they don't want to acknowledge that's what they're doing. They think they're pushing back against some woke elitist conspiracy and people poisoning everyone's minds. Mike Winger's doing the exact same thing with Santa Claus. He's pushing back against this huge issue of human nature that just finds his Jesus stuff to be boring nerd shit that only people like Mike and a few select people, even within Christianity, want to carry on about. And he thinks he wants to boil it down to some little trick, which is you told your kids Santa exists, and that's the only reason people aren't walking around talking about the sacrifice of Jesus.
Look, you're absolutely right. Look, I've said a version of this before, but like half of Christianity's complaints, or people like Mike who are in the space complaints, are just complaints against neoliberalism and not really like anything else. It's just like, yeah, this is what happens when our society move in the ways that it does. And like,
okay, Dan, hang on.
What?
Can you continue this while I get up one more time? It's getting
He's
late.
making me do it again, folks.
I need to grab a beer. Continue your thing.
Welcome to Danza. We're going back to Danza today. Okay, so this is my take, right? And you know, I've said versions of this, but look, a lot of Christianity's complaints when you talk about gay rights movements, abortion rights, people's secularization of the Christmas holiday is neoliberalism. It is capitalist forces. Like, you know, call me a Marxist or whatever, but it really is just a complaint against the current structure of the economy. People aren't really in it for spiritual truths. People are in it to make money in this world. And people take advantage of that. Christians too, by the way. So yeah, this complaint that the world is the way it is isn't like a sin problem. I wouldn't even say it's a human nature problem. I mean, maybe kind of it is, but not in like a fallen world sense. It's just like, yeah, this is what happens when you give people the freedom to make these kinds of decisions for themselves. They're going to do it differently from the way that you might want to, and realize that these traditions or these worldviews and thought patterns that you have are not exactly valued in the same way when you give people a chance to choose. A lot of Christianity, people growing up in it, they really didn't get the chance to choose, right? It's not like medieval peasants in Europe were like, let me think about this Buddhism thing. If they knew what Buddhism was, it's not like they had any texts that could tell them about it, right? It's like, this is the culture, and the Christian culture used to be dominant in America, and to a great extent it still is, but it doesn't have the same cultural influence that it used to in many respects. And Christians have been whining about this for at least 50 years or more. So, you know, that's just the way of the world. I don't know. That's my Marxist analysis of Christianity, I guess, is that half of the complaints are about material economic forces that are impacting culture, and not necessarily spiritual deviations, but rather deviations from, you know, what they think is best for people. Hey, Zod, how are you doing?
Hey there. Good. I'm really sorry to be so unprofessional, but at my age, if nothing else, I need to get up and move or my back will freeze up. So
hell yeah. What are you drinking tonight, Zod? Is that some eggnog I see? That looks like some good eggnog.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce it. Kirin Ichiban. It's a Japanese beer. It's really good.
I like it. Jason Sherwood is right. I'm not a communist, and I may be a liar, a pig, and a communist, but not a porn star. So
I think that's a Simpsons reference.
Okay, that's why I didn't make that connection there. Definitely not a pig. Would not mess with the cops.
Cheers.
I don't know if I ever give that vibe. Cheers. Some delicious eggnog you got there.
Yes. It's like a nice, kind of light, rice forward tasting beer. And it's not super fancy, but up here in Alaska, there's a couple of military bases, and all the service members who had been stationed at Japan buy it up, and so you have to like go to the right place and get it just the right time.
Look at this beautiful slideshow. First of all, is that the penguin from like the Batman universe you just showed me right there?
Oh yeah, from what is it, Batman 2? I can't remember what that's called.
That looks like Danny DeVito as the penguin. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so this is our first chick tract. We each have to read parts, and then we can say stuff if we want to. Dan, would you like to be Scrooge or other characters? I imagine you'd be a good Scrooge.
I mean,
your range might make you good at all the other characters too, though.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for acknowledging my voice acting talent. First of all, that's a rarity, but also, you know what? It's your Christmas, Saad. You just popped open a cold one, a nice cold eggnog. You tell me what to do, and I'll follow, my friend.
All right. You know what? I'll take Scrooge. Not that I think I'll be great, but I just want to see what you do with all the other characters.
Okay. I'm down. I have not seen this, by the way. This is brand new information for me. So, first time reading. Let's go. All right. So, I guess I got to do a a Charles Dickens-esque character voice for this one. Mr. Scrooge, may I please go home? It's so very late, and my family is waiting for me.
You sound like he's not a savior. He's a very naughty boy.
It could be like a Dobby, like a Dobby from Harry Potter thing too. That's
okay. Why?
Ooh. To celebrate the birth of Christ, sir. You know, the manger. I don't know what you're talking. Oh, sorry, that's you. Go ahead.
You insufferable fucking nerd. I don't know what you're talking about, Cratchit. What are you, some kind of Mike Winger?
What's a Cratchit?
Oh, the spirit of Christmas is Jesus.
Why is it capitalized? What's a Cratchit? Is that a reference to like a political movement? Is this some sort of...
Wait, are you asking what a Cratchit is?
Yeah, what's a Cratchit?
Are you serious?
Yeah, what's a Cratchit?
Bob Cratchit, the character from Christmas Carol.
Oh, sorry, I didn't make that connection. I've only seen Christmas Carol. I've only seen it. I don't know. I've seen the Flintstones version of the Christmas Carol.
I grew up watching the Disney one where there was Scrooge McDuck.
Okay, Cratchit sounds like an insult to a racial minority, so it seems a little left field. But as long as you're saying its last name, that is what it is. All right, continue, please.
It'd be a funny joke if it wasn't his last name and it was a racial.
Yeah, I gotcha.
The world is finance, not fairy stories.
It's not a fairy story, Miss. I am going into the Dobby voice a little bit there. It needs his socks, master. Or whatever. It's like, it's not a fairy story, Mr. Scrooge.
It's humbug. And don't contradict me, you Cratchit.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Don't say you, Cratchit. That makes it so much worse. Your eternal destiny hangs on that story, sir.
How could my eternal destiny possibly hang on a story of a baby? I think you're daft, you Cratchit.
That's awesome. I love how his problem with it isn't that like, yeah, it's just like it just doesn't make sense. It didn't happen in reality. It's like, oh, a baby? Psh, please. That's ridiculous. No stories involving babies could ever be true. That's awesome.
I only believe in supernatural stories about things supernaturally saving my soul if it's a grown-up. Thank you very much.
I want my soul to be saved by supernatural grown-ass men. Thank you. None of this baby stuff. Anyway.
Come back and save my soul when you have a job in finance.
Yeah. That's awesome. What a take. Mr. Scrooge, that child was the creator of the universe in the form of flesh.
Do you realize what you're saying, Cratchit? Why in heaven's name would God bother with insignificant man? Man is rotten to the core. Man is a blight on the earth.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Pause. He doesn't believe in the narrative, but he's quoting the Bible? What's happening here?
He's not supposed to be aware of it.
Okay, so this is just a natural observation that happens to fit into the Bible's narrative. Okay, all right. I guess I could see that.
But again, this is obviously a non-believer, but his issue is that, isn't that this is all just a made-up stupid story. It's why would God care about me? I'm a sinner.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Gosh. Is this me now? Okay. This is a different character. Wait, is it the same character?
It's still him.
Okay, he just was so drawn radically different. Wait, hold on. If we go back, maybe it's the hat. Okay, yeah, I guess it's the hat that threw me off there. All right. What a coincidence, Mr. Scrooge. The word of God says the same thing. Okay, all right. See, you're right. You're right. I missed out on that.
This is the kind of thing you'd known if you'd read ahead of time.
Well, if you had sent me the chick Tract ahead of time, I would have loved to read it.
That's true. That's fair. Also, Cratchit, it's our word.
Stop. 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 No. We're gonna get canceled. Zod, stop. No, don't do that. Dear God, we've spent weeks on this, Zod. We bought a StreamYard subscription like last week. You can't do this to us. Zod.
It does?
Oh no. Oh God. I gotta compose myself. Okay.
Okay, ready? It does?
There you go. Thank you. The Bible says there is none righteous. No, not one. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. He's got two asterisks.
You don't say.
He's got multiple asterisks in the same speech bubble. He is serious about these citations, folks. Sorry. Anyway, didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, your Bible paraphrases mundane observations about the human condition?
Yeah, that is true. It's like, wait a minute. You're saying a guy said humans kind of suck? Whoa. That's unique in the span of history.
Isn't that rather severe? Home. I don't like those verses.
Oh no. Oh no.
Cratchit! Will God judge me for my sins?
Probably.
I'm sweating. Because you told me some boogeyman is going to get me, and now I'm nervous.
Let's go back a second. I want look at this frame on the right here. That is an ugly mug right there. I gotta say, props to Jack Chicked for making an ugly mug there.
His mouth, if you look at it carefully, though, his mouth should not be like set that far back.
No, it's
behind his cheeks.
No, it definitely violates law, like perspective.
Yeah.
Like Leonardo da Vinci would definitely have a problem with this, but Da Vinci's dead, baby. It's all about Jack. So let's continue. Oh yes, Mr. Scrooge, we will see your entire life in review.
Gulp. Good night, Cratchit.
Oh. Read this, sir. It will show you how to miss God's wrath. Holy shit. That's okay. That's a line.
I said, good night, Cratchit.
Yes, indeed. Good night, sir.
Maybe I don't want to miss God's wrath.
Yeah, maybe he's into that, you know? Oh, is this the same character? I think so.
Oh, these are two different. This is now him at the goose shop. I guess I'll be the guy at the shop.
Okay. Is my beautiful goose ready?
Such as it is, Bob. Too bad you couldn't afford this beauty.
It's still you talking.
Oh, sorry. Cratchit. I don't see how a Cratchit kind like you could feed your family on your meager salary. Scrooge is a miser and a cruel brute.
Ooh. Oh, God always takes care of us.
Boot-looking Bible nerd.
It's true.
But I mean, look at that. It's like, look at that little goose. It's like this.
You're right. That is pathetic. You're right. That goose is so small. It's like it's like a sandwich. That's not a whole goose.
It's all neck. It's like a songbird with an exaggerated neck.
Also, that's the most unflattering portrait you can draw of a man. I thought I saw it bad with Scrooge. This one's also bad. He must really think atheists are just ugly people. I think that's the message.
I don't think this guy's an atheist though. He's on Cratchit's side.
Maybe so.
I don't know that.
Is this me? Do I do both of these characters?
A couple kids. Oh, such beautiful toys.
I just love that doll.
Okay, now you'll be
that's me.
Cratchit and I'll be the kids.
Are my little ones window shopping?
We know we are poor, Father, but it doesn't hurt to look, does it?
Not at all, Tiny Tim.
Oh, Father, they're so beautiful.
I think I volunteered as the girl child, and you're Tiny Tim. Does the girl child have a name? How come Tiny Tim gets a name? She can be
Little Lucy.
Little Lucy. There you go. Thinking on your feet. Zod, I like it. That's you.
We may not have a lot of toys, Father, but at least we have each other.
Oh, that's right, Tim.
And then who's talking here? What's going on in this panel?
That's his wife.
Oh, okay.
Isn't it a lovely goose, my dear? Oh, wait.
No, it's
that's
not, because
him.
he says, yes,
Darn it.
Bob.
Oh, sorry.
That's me.
Isn't it a lovely goose, my dear?
Yes, Bob. It's so big. It's the biggest one I've ever seen.
I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. This is how many panels of this do we have to go through? I'm losing it. What's happening? We're on slide 10 of what, Zod?
She talked about how big it is. Now she needs to talk about getting stuff.
Yeah, shut up. I'm asking you a question. How many slides?
Okay, let me look. Let me look. Hang on. There are 23 slides.
Okay, Jesus Christ. All right.
It's
I'm
so
only doing
big
this
I'll have to
because
cook the
it's
goose in the stuffing.
Oh, Mama, you're so funny.
This is the worst thing ever. I hate this.
Ha! Ha! Ha!
Oh my God.
Zach
Zach
W.
W.
Parker
Parker.
said, "For the love of Mike Hunt, don't get canceled.
Yeah,
we
I
will
know,
do our
this is-
best."
Listen, if we get canceled, this is a banger of a final episode to go out on. I'll say that.
Yes.
I'll give it that much. Who is
But
talking here?
in all seriousness, if she thinks that's a big goose, what does a little goose look like to her?
That's true. That is the most pathetic looking goose I've ever seen. From a meat eater's perspective, that's like not a good goose to gander, I would say.
Nope.
Oh, how I thank God for each of you, and I love you all.
You sanctimonious shit. We love you too, Father. We're sitting here starving and you're all Jesus this, and we thank God for that.
Oh my God.
What's your thanks to God? Can I eat it?
Jesus.
How about a cheer for my wonderful employer, Mr. Scrooge?
I'm sorry, McCratchit. I despise that mean old man. I can't help it.
Mama, shouldn't we pray for Mr. Scrooge?
Don't encourage Father.
Oh dear, here comes Mr. Scrooge. I pray that he is in a good mood.
Why did Cratchit quote those verses to me? I hate him for that. My old partner, Marley, has been dead for 10 years. I wish he could come back and prove Cratchit wrong. He was the most brilliant of internet atheists.
He was one of the, they called him the fifth horseman. He was one of the greats. He just never
I
published
can't remember the
anything.
problem of evil.
He made great animations on YouTube circa 2008. It was really great. Excuse me, Mr. Scrooge.
What?
It's a riveting narrative.
Mr. Scrooge, I have been quite ill. Could you please extend my loan for 10 more days?
This is a different character. Sorry, it's Mrs. Cooper.
No. Mrs. Cooper, not for one extra minute. You can expect foreclosure, madam.
Uh-oh. Are we getting into anti-Semitism stereotypes here? Is this what's happening? Was that in the original story? I guess people didn't pay their loans back. He was like
I wouldn't be surprised.
Probably.
It's not anti-Semitism. It's just like the rich British guy.
Yeah, but come on. It's probably anti-Semitism.
But I want to add one little thing here. Zodanza Theater is fantastic.
We should make this a regular segment. Zodanza Theater.
Yeah, this is fun.
God will get you for that.
Holy shit, that's vindictive as hell. God damn. Imagine not paying back your loans and being like, God will get you for that. That's great. Awesome.
You will burn in hell, mother.
Yeah. Oh, I don't pay back my car loans. Why don't you burn for all of eternity, motherfucker? How about that? How about them apples? Damn.
My wife works in financial aid at the university up here, and she hears that all day long. You're stopping me from continuing my education.
Yeah, I believe it. All right.
I love by the way, I love his expression there. She yells, God will get you for that. And he's like, oh shit, I'm in trouble.
Man. Yeah, he's that is
that's just
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna comment on the face again. It's just quite a you see this. Okay, I'm saying there's some anti-Semitic. It's a chick tract, so I wouldn't be surprised. There is something going on with the nose there that could portray anti-Semitic, right? He's a money lender. You know what I'm saying? There's roots here. I'm just saying.
I wouldn't accuse chick tracts of pro-Semitism, I guess.
Yeah, you know what? Fair. Here, I'll give you that. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I just love his expression, just the oh shit thing, but it kind of looks like he smushed his balls when he was walking or something. His eyes are so crossed, and he's just like,
what? What?
You know, like it looks like he's suddenly in pain, like he stepped on something or scrunched something.
What the hell, Zod? My brain did not go to that place. I mean, I see it now, but like your brain went to places I did not go. That's a interesting interpretation. But yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. This is all you.
It's good to be home. Oops.
Now, how do you speak in oops in parentheses? I'm just curious. How does that work?
What's going on? My door knocker is changing.
The
good old knocker
what she
changes
said?
with age.
What is that? This is
a little
still
shriveled.
This is a solo performance right here.
Good heavens! I'm losing my hat. I'm going right to bed.
That is kind of spooky. Oh,
his door knocker turned into the devil.
Yeah, it turned into the devil. It was a lion before, kind of more like a lion and a beaver combined. Really. Yeah, still you. This is your Hamlet soliloquy right now. Go ahead.
I'll feel safer under the covers. After a good night's sleep, I'll forget all this humbug.
Dear Lord, please save Mr. Scrooge.
Oh, is
you have
this
to be
me?
Marley too.
Scrooge, wake up. It's me, Marley.
Hey, you really phoned the Marley in, didn't
Hey,
you?
shut up. That's how Marley talked. Okay.
He's a ghost.
Okay, fine. Let me redo this one. Scrooge, wake up. It's me, Marley. A Scooby fucking Doo ghost, apparently. Ooh.
I'm satisfied now. Thank you.
All right. All right.
Marley! Gasp.
Yeah.
Where did you come from?
I died in my sins, motherfucker. Wait, that's a pretty metal line. Sorry. I died in my sins, bitch. Now I'm waiting for doomsday when God will condemn me forever.
Marley, what about me?
You're going to be worse off than I am, motherfucker. I'll see you soon. Later. And then he throws middle fingers up as he's leaving. That's my interpretation.
Your best friend comes back and says he resides in a state of eternal torment. You're like, dude, what about me?
Says, suck it up, bitch. I've been in the game longer than you have. It's ride or die in these streets.
All right. You have to do like 5 different impressions before it comes to me.
Begged for help, and you laughed.
Hobbitses.
Let's do one after the other. You do the next one.
You ruined me, Scrooge.
You have no mercy.
My child starves because of you.
God will get you for this.
I'm more scared of you than God.
That was kind of a sort of what's it called? The villain from Inspector Gadget sort of vibe, like a claw. Was a claw? That's his name. That was kind of where that was going with. Anyway,
I'll get you.
you know. Yeah, Dr. Claw.
Ratchet put something in my pocket he said would save me from God's wrath.
Oh man, is it a magic charm? Let's find out.
Ah, I found it. It says,
Yep.
one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them back, and in the darkness bind them.
Yeah.
It says, if I receive Jesus Christ as my personal savior, I will miss God's wrath.
Oh.
That makes all kinds of sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yes, Jesus. He says, bent down on all fours.
God,
I do receive you.
No. God damn it. We're not getting this video monetized. There's no way.
I'm literally describing the scene.
I know, but like
he's
really?
on his hands and knees waiting to receive Jesus.
So the dance is gonna end in the red this year. Is what I'm saying.
I do. Please save me. I believe you died for me on the cross. Asterisk Rome 5:8. Please forgive me, not for some, but for all of my wickedness. I'm sorry.
Oh, I like your little improvisation there. You're a real Shakespeare at the Park fellow.
Man, I didn't realize that Scrooge had this much of the reading.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is your Hamlet soliloquy right here. Go at it, King.
Lord,
Slay.
you've set me free. I feel clean and wonderful. What shall I do now?
Make restitution. Shun.
Oh, so this is some kind of salvation by works thing. I see.
Yeah. Mhm.
I will make up for all the wicked things I've done, Lord. Quick, give me that big goose and all the goodies on this list. What a wonderful day.
Is that you, Mr. Scrooge?
No, it's not. My friend.
I'm Batman.
The old Scrooge is dead. I am wearing his skin. I became a brand new man when I received Jesus.
He's not the Scrooge the city needs. He's the one it deserves.
I want
Still
all
you.
these presents. I want all these presents taken to Bob Cratchit's house right away. I don't care about the cost. Apparently, he means well, but sometimes you just grow up learning certain terms and they just roll off your tongue. He'll fix that part later. It's a growing process.
Yes, Master Wayne. Right away, Master Wayne.
Mrs. Cooper, please forgive me. Your debt has been cancelled.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Scrooge. Thank you. God bless you.
Your debt is as cancelled as Zodanza.
Your debt is as cancelled as our future in internet media personalities.
He has, Mrs. Cooper. He has.
Nice.
According to that book that some guy randomly gave me yesterday.
Right. This is all you.
Cratchit, I've got presents for all of your children, which is not creepy or intrusive and breaking down boundaries. And I'm doubling your salary.
You
now make $2 an hour.
You what, sir? Oh, thank you, sir.
I can't believe it.
Oh,
Yeah, you're right. I should have read that one. Now it's you.
And Mrs. Cratchit, here's something for you.
I love my doll. Oh, Mr. Scrooge, it's beautiful. You must join us for dinner. Chim chimmery, chim chimmery, chim chim chiroo.
Because I'll be able to bake that huge ass thing in the next hour.
Yeah, for real. Look at that thing. That's not even a goose. That looks like a turkey.
Yeah.
Right. What? That's literally a turkey. That's not even a goose. Right? Look at the wings. He messed it up. He's supposed to get even I know enough about the Christmas Carol to know he gets a goose at the end. I forgot the Cratchit part, apparently. Now he's just changing the story.
This is even bigger than what my brother brought me.
I'm about to walk out of this fucking room right now. We are off the fucking rails. Holy shit. That was awesome.
Okay.
There's no
See, Dan, I'm not
Christmas
the only-
ghosts in this
I'm not the
story.
only one who sees these things.
No, you're right. There's no
Thank you,
Christmas ghosts.
Timothy.
They don't want to talk about the paranormal. They're too scared. I think it's you.
And how is Tiny Tim?
I've been praying for you, Mr. Scrooge. Things
so
that bother
insufferable.
me never bother you. I've found.
Thank you, Tiny Tim. Excuse me, geez. God has answered your prayers. Bob, we'll get Tiny Tim to the finest doctors in England. Or
Oh,
wait.
Oh.
That book you gave me has changed my outlook on everything. Fuck the doctors. We'll just pray for him.
That's true. I thought you were going to say, and we're going to invest in socialized medicine. And we're going to make sure that all the kids in England deserve proper healthcare treatment from their government, paid for through taxes, no less.
He quit calling them Cratchits. He's not going to go full on woke though.
Yeah. True. He says,
Oh, thank you, Mr. Scrooge. Tiny Tim will get well now. But Mr. Scrooge, where is your present?
why didn't you get him one? Girl.
Oh, he's going to say something dorky like eternal life, isn't he?
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
I got God's wonderful gift, eternal life, when I received Jesus as my savior. Now I love everybody.
Damn. Scrooge confirmed loves Nazis and racists and psychopaths that cause harm and sociopaths that cause harm. He loves them. He just said it right there.
This is what's great about Christianity. Like, they think if you're a total piece of shit, you like kneel down on the floor and say a prayer once, and now you're loving. And
You're right. I'm just laughing at this comment. YouTube punk saying you're Timmy a shiny NFT. That's so true. He would totally do that.
God answered Tiny Tim's prayer by terrorizing his dad's
Yeah,
box.
that's awesome. That's an awesome interpretation. I like that. You got to finish your line, Zod.
Oh, where are we at?
You said, "Now I love everybody."
And I have peace.
There you go. Thank you. Oh, Mr. Scrooge, I'm so glad you're going to heaven.
So am I, child. Wait. Are there going to be Cratchits in heaven?
Oh, no. No, Zod, no.
So am I.
No. We're beyond canceled at this point. We've reached the forbidden zone.
God bless us, everyone.
Wait, we're
Tiny Tim.
You stole
He
my line.
has.
Now Scrooge is going to heaven. How about you? Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
All right, read this whole thing.
Oh, Jesus, that's a lot. The Bible says
No,
there's
this
only
is-
one way to heaven. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. Order now, and you'll get a $20 certificate for this high-tech falutin vacuum. Nobody.
Wait.
Oh, what? Huh?
So they have all these typical instructions for how to like come to Christ. Which,
Yeah.
But number one, I love how they think the world works like it does in the Chick Tract, where you pick this up and read it, and you're like, holy crap, there's a God, and I'm gonna go to hell if I die of my sins.
Yeah.
But I love how at the end here, there's actually something called the next step at chick.com.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on.
Help.
I gotta read this. I gotta sort of inhale this text here. Nobody else can save you. Trust Jesus today. That if thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Lord Jesus, and shalt believe in thine heart that God hath raised him from the dead, thou shalt believe. Thou shalt be saved. Rom 10:9. That's what it says there. 1. Admit you are a sinner. See Romans 3:10. 2. Be willing to turn from sin. Repent. See Acts 17:30. 3. Believe that Jesus Christ died for you, was buried, and rose from the dead. See Romans chapter 10, verses 9 through 10. 4. Through prayer, invite Jesus into your heart to become your personal savior. See Rom chapter 10, verse 13. 5. Order now and receive a free tote bag with your purchase of $20 or more. That's not in there.
Okay, my part's the prayer.
Okay.
Dear God, I'm a sinner and need forgiveness. I believe that Jesus Christ shed his precious blood and died for my sin. I'm willing to turn from my sin. I now invite Christ to come into my heart as my personal savior.
What is that voice? What is that? You're like doing like a sarcastic thing there. I liked it. It was good. I do like how precious blood is in bold.
Yeah.
If you didn't like, imagine this is your first time reading about like Jesus, like ever, and you see precious blood in bold, you're thinking this is a cult or a serial killer thing. Like there's no other way around that, right?
Yeah.
If you
I
trust
love.
Jesus.
By the way,
sorry, go
I
ahead.
love metal theologians pointing out, read your Bible, KJV in parentheses.
Yeah, you're totally right there.
Chick Track is a King James only thing.
Yeah. Hi,
Also,
Billy. Oh, go ahead.
I'm not sure if I can endorse this, but Drew Harrison says, if you all want to search for and watch Tiny Tim just a jiggle.
Tiny Tim just a gigolo. Well, I know what I'm doing after this stream. Thank you for that recommendation. Hi, Billy Mays here. If you trusted Jesus as your savior, you have just begun a wonderful new life with him. Now, 1, read your Bible, KJV, every day to get to know Jesus Christ better. Number 2, talk to God in prayer every day. Every day. Don't miss it. If you do, you're going back to hell. Offers revoked. They take that shit back. Number 3, be baptized, worship, fellowship, and serve with other Christians in a church where Christ is preached and the Bible is the final authority. So here's an idea. Scrooge didn't get baptized, right? In the story, at least. Is he going to hell? What if Scrooge got a heart attack the next day? Is he saved? What would Jack Chick say?
I don't know that he's technically worshipped, fellowshipped, or served with other. Well, he served. I don't know, but he didn't do any of this in a church. This is just the first step.
He's on the first step of the road to recovery. It's like a 12-step program. Number 4, tell others about Jesus Christ. Here's help to grow as a new Christian. Read The Next Step, available at www.chick.com. Check it out. There is at the end.
A peek at that. We could take a peek at that and see if it's worth reading.
Yeah, we totally should.
Yep, that's the end.
Oh man,
that is
Zodanza Theater.
Humbug. Yes, that was fun. We need to do more Chick Tracks.
That was a good time. We should do more dramatic reenactments of Chick Tracks. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good time. What a beautiful Christmas special, Zod. I'm loving it. Mm-hmm. I'm witnessing the Christmas spirit in my heart right now. So
I feel like we really captured the spirit of the Christmas season.
Yeah. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save you from fear, I read a Chick Tract on the internet at 11:30 at night. So that's my alteration to the famous.
This is
Christmas
by far the
tale.
longest Zodanza ever.
It is the longest Zodanza ever, but it's fitting. It works.
Would it be a special if it was just the regular length?
Exactly. Yeah. No, we needed to cover all of tonight's material.
Yeah.
It was worth it. But folks, guess what? This isn't the last Zodanza. We're actually planning on doing one next week. All things going well. So that'll be the true last Zodanza of 2023. So you don't want to miss it. And yeah, check it out. I want to give a special shout out to everybody that's been supporting us through Super Chats and through the Patreon. It's always an eye roll when we talk about this stuff, but really we would do this for fun, even if there weren't expenses involved. We really set that up so that we can cover stuff like StreamYard subscriptions and other kinds of stuff. And you guys are the ones supporting the show and making it happen. So thank you so much for actually being the reason why the show can continue. We joke about it, but it means a lot. So thanks so much. And thank you again. So much correspondence as well on the emails and stuff. It's been great interacting with a lot of you guys. And I know that both of you come from kind of our own separate audiences. Some of you guys watching my stuff, some of you guys watching Zod stuff, coming together, and this blend has been really cool to see.
And according to Grandma Foreskin, this is the biggest Zodanza he's ever seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate all your support. We got a ton of super chats.
Yeah, absolutely.
We almost dug ourselves out of the hole created by Shannon giving us negative $300
Right.
dollars.
Right.
In all reality, we do, I think, come out slightly in the black with this, but it is mostly for expenses. And I think most of what we make, we're probably just going to put into doing silly little things to add to the show and stuff. We just really have fun. Thanks to Dan for doing this with me. It's been a lot of fun, and this adds a lot to my week. Like, I make my videos, but schedules and just the grind of them getting more elaborate has like cut down how many times I can release them. And this just lets me get everything out there and also interact with another person and with an audience live. So I appreciate Dan and all of you for being here. And David, thank you for the Merry Christmas and for the $4.99.
Yes, thank you. And even those of you who don't choose to donate for, whatever reasons, I totally get it. I definitely don't donate to everybody that I watch either. But just your support and seeing your same names pop up every week, the real regulars for Zodanza, it's been really fun for me. This has been a great new project for me to explore. I'm excited to see what we do for this next year. But I can't be talking about it like this is the last episode of the year, because we do have another one for you this next week that we're cooking for you. So stay tuned.
So next week, I also want to say, I totally agree with Dan. I'm always a little on the fence because you want to acknowledge the people who give you money, because that is a really nice thing and it's really helpful. But we're not just like entertainment creators. I think we're here to like be a support thing and be part of the online voice where you can come and feel like you're heard and that people saying thoughts along with you, depending on where you're at. And I want to be there and be a resource for people. And I struggle with like, acknowledging our supporters, but also giving equal access and equal appreciation to everybody. So I really am just happy that you're all here, and it's a lot of fun. And this is one of my favorite nights of the week, and it's really, really cool. So
yeah,
next week, I think, if Dan doesn't mind me making a unilateral decision, if you can all like give us your feedback, email, comments, whatever, give us your favorite like memory from this year, whether it's Zodanza, whether it's YouTube atheism in general, whether it's something that happened in the apologetics atheism thing, whatever, your retrospective thoughts on this year in terms of like everything that happens in our community. Does that sound all right with you, Dan?
I love that. I think that's a great idea. Yeah. And I want to see what I can do this next week. I'm going to be traveling this weekend, seeing some folks and stuff. So, I want to, we're going to be, next week will be interesting because we don't fully have an idea of what we're doing yet, to be quite frank with you, but we're going to figure it out. So, join us for the ride. And we should also point out Manuel Puente, who gave us $5 super sticker, is the comment.
Thank
there.
You
Thank you so much for that. And I agree with you, Zod. Like, I'd be doing this anyway, regardless of, we don't see the money that comes into our bank accounts. It helps us like make the show happen and stuff, but it does help us make the show better and better. I already alluded to Zod. I have some ideas for what we can do for this next year and stuff, and really ramp this thing up, because this has been great for me. It's also been one of my favorite days of the week. So thanks, Zod, and thank you to everybody who watches. You guys rock. So enough with the sentimentals.
I need one more thing from you, Dan. What is our sign off?
God bless us, everyone, except for the Cratchits.
Good night, everybody. We had a really great crowd tonight. We actually had really good numbers of people, a lot of familiar faces here and stuff. And it's like way late, and we still have more people than we usually have watching. So that is really awesome, and I appreciate it. So thanks, everybody, and have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Voy a cantar esta canción con mucho cariño de mi corazón a la República Dominicana, la casa del merengue y la casa de la bachata. Voy a cantar esta canción con mucho cariño de mi corazón, a la República Dominicana, la casa del merengue, la casa de la bachata. La, 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 la casa del merengue. La, 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 y la casa de la bachata.